What's up, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural episode of Podern Nerd. I am your host, Chris Dace, from Tuesday's Titan Show on twitch.tv/Dace Man and Friends, the Dace Man Show. And joining me on this episode, the one, the only, Frank Cline.
Hi there. You ever dance with the devil and something?
Devil in life.
Yeah.
That's a good quote.
Yeah. It's good that I didn't get it right, and we're about to talk about the Joker.
It's a good segue because, yes, this episode is about the Joker. We're going to go through all the live action roles rather than just the comics or the animation because we know right off the bat you guys are going to say Mark Hamill is the best Joker of all time.
Yeah.
So we decided to go, because of the recent movie that came out back in October, we wanted to talk about the live action roles from TV and movies.
Yeah. Now it's like kind of settled a bit. We all got to think about how we felt with Jared Leto and...
Yeah, we'll get there. And then, of course, Joaquin Phoenix.
I actually meant to say Joaquin Phoenix as the last one. Yeah.
Which, it's interesting. I think, and we'll see this as we go through the episode, the character gets progressively darker.
Yeah.
With a little hiccup, that is Jared Leto. So the first one on our list tonight we're going to be talking about is Cesar Romero. He played Joker in the Batman television series from 1966 to 1968, and then also reprised the role in 1966. He was born in New York City on February 15th, 1907, so he's the oldest Joker by far. Yeah. Passed away at the age of 86 on January 1st, 1994 in Santa Monica, California. And he's best known for a wide range of Latin lover roles. So stepping into the Joker is definitely a departure from what he's known for. Mm-hmm. Except the Joker probably put him on the map.
Yeah, it's probably his most well-known role now.
Yeah.
So I wonder how he would feel about that, you know?
Especially because, like, it says the time range that he did the Latin lover roles was, like, the 30s to the 50s.
Yeah.
So he spent 20 years doing that.
Oh, yeah, he was a serious actor. He took himself very serious. So...
and then the other note I have about him playing the Joker is he absolutely refused to shave his mustache for the role.
It's like the most well-known thing about him playing the Joker is he painted over his mustache. Which I wonder why they didn't just be like, hey, paint the mustache green. Like, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Just, he has green hair.
But it's weird.
Green mustache.
His character in this, it sticks closely to what the 1960s version of the Joker was.
Yeah, his is the most comic accurate for that time.
Yeah, before, like, sick, twisted writers got a hold of the Batman series. It's very comical. And the whole series itself had, like, the pow, so he really played up the clown aspect of it.
Yeah, and he was always paired with Penguin, which I forget his name. Is like Berets something.
I don't remember. Whatever. The Penguin was the one that I don't remember the most. Like, I remember him and the Jon Stewart joke of him being Dick Cheney. Yeah. But I remember the Riddler as well was part of it. Mm-hmm. And he actually, I think, was still acting. I don't know if he's still alive, but he was still acting as of a couple of years because I remember seeing him on CSI.
Yeah, that's I think his name's Frank. We should have did more research to these actors.
That's true. We just strictly went after the Joker on this instance. But also in that series, Julie Newman, and then there was Merriweather played Catwoman.
Yeah, and wanted to be Catwoman in Tim Burton's film, and showed up to, like, I think it was Letterman, dressed as a cat, and it is like one of those. Anytime you look for, like, cringe videos, they're like, oh, here's that woman trying to be Catwoman again.
Oh, God. And I wish you guys could see my face, because as you were telling that story, my face was just contorting the whole way.
Yeah.
But to focus on Cesar Romero and his Joker performance, again, we said it was very cartoonish. The laugh really isn't memorable.
Really? I think he has, outside of Hamill, one of the more memorable laughs.
He probably has the most realistic.
Yeah, it's very cartoony.
Yeah.
Everything about that show was cartoony.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The costumes, everything.
I was just going to say, his costume, it was that bright purple, like he was pulled right out of a comic book.
Yeah. He never felt, like, threatening. It was just like, oh, damn it, this fucking clown's showing up.
He was like an annoyance.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you'll see as we go further into the actors who have played Joker and the movies that they're in, they get dark, twisted, and they're chaos. Whereas he is just a prankster.
Yeah, he was just fun.
Yeah.
He just showed up and was like, hey, I'm going to give Adam West some trouble. Why are you walking around with Burt Ward?
Yep. No, you got it right there.
Hey, we got one. Yeah.
But again, all of his, like, traps and stuff like that were just circus related or very clownish.
Yeah.
So that was like, I think out of all of these, the most clown version rather than psychopath.
Yeah.
When you think of Cesar Romero, is there any highlights within that first series or even the movie? See, a lot of the movie to me
Yeah.
is Batman shit they did with him that sticks out. But do you have any moments or like favorite parts that he had done?
I think the thing that stands out most about that Joker, Cesar Romero's, is the puns that he would say. Of just like, you buffling buffoon. Like, I think Penguin did that maybe a little bit more. Probably all of them did.
If I remember, I think
I just watched the movie. I don't really remember this, like, watching the series.
the series was, all of them were ridiculous.
Yeah.
They always had like some kind of like afternoon message in it for kids coming home from school, like
Hey.
don't do drugs. The Joker did, and now he's fucked up.
So I watched that and been like, yeah, but cool mustache.
As you watch the later ones, you're like, oh shit, the Joker did do drugs.
Yeah.
He's tripping on acid and just burning down cities. But I think like the one thing you kind of pointed on with Penguin, he did an enunciation a lot. Mm-hmm. The bumbling buffoons, like just kept hitting that B on that. I just remember him having all kinds of gadgets and toys. Like you could probably build a store around the shit that he used in that show.
He definitely had that flower. He used that flower like the most. I guess they probably used that with Jack Nicholson too. But like outside of that, like now I'm thinking about it. After Nicholson, I don't remember like any of them using a flower. Did Heath Ledger's use a flower?
No, but he did the pencil trick. But
Yeah.
it's definitely, if we can contrast those two, of Cesar Romero using a flower with water and then Jack Nicholson having acid. So it was like.
No, it was probably acid with Caesar, maybe.
Well, I mean, it's also the same
If it was
show.
just water, it's like, God, come on.
It's the same show where they had shark repellent in a can and punched him in the face.
Probably like anti-Batman juice. Just that you're not Batman anymore. Turns out you're Bruce Wayne.
But I think you made a good point with Cesar Romero, is that he wasn't threatening.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it once we get down to The Dark Knight in 2008. But a lot of people back then just thought him as funny and it really fit in with that time period sense of humor, because as the years go by, the humor gets darker.
Would you say he, at that point, was Batman's main villain? Because he's definitely the main villain now.
I would say no, because like they equally build all four of them, if you think about it.
Well, who would the four be? Riddler,
Catwoman, Penguin, and Joker. Those four were like, you always got a combination of them. And then you'd have the one-offs of like Mr. Freeze, or like they would bring in like the random ones every once in a while on the show. But it just, you wouldn't have got that sense of this is his all-time greatest villain.
Yeah.
Then again, at this point, I believe the comics weren't even that old, if I'm not mistaken. So like, Batman just turned 80 this year, which, quick math, would have put it in 1940.
Yeah, so like 40s. And then the show comes out in what, like the 60s?
It started airing in 66.
Okay.
So at this point, they had probably about 16 years under their belt of Batman comics.
Right.
And didn't have Frank Miller put his fucking stamp on it yet. So there was no sadistic twist. It was just the Joker's like, I got a present. It's a bomb.
I don't even know if there was Arkham yet.
No, I don't think any of that dark lore came into like,
it was I wonder even like what his origin at that point was. Was he like a guy that fell into a vat? Did they even dive into it? Was he just an asshole that put on makeup and was like...
Well, I think the closest origin story you got was The Killing Joke, and I don't think that was till the 80s.
No.
Maybe even early 90s. I don't remember the exact year on it. But it's, like you said, there was no origin. And there's always that, like, oh my god, what is his backstory? But this guy was like, hey, there's four assholes over there giving Batman a hard time. And they were just glorified gangsters.
Yeah.
We
probably have Batman's origin, though, because Martha Wayne has to lose her goddamn pearls. Every time, Martha Wayne's pearls need to be ripped off her neck.
I know.
Every universe.
We'll get to it later, but I remember watching the Joaquin Phoenix one. I'm like, God damn, how many times are they going to kill his parents? This isn't even a Batman story. It's a Joker story. And they still snuck it in there where they
Still
died.
got it.
Yeah, I think they take the record of on-screen deaths when it comes to comic book heroes. And then second would probably be Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Poor Uncle Ben.
But any final thoughts, or just like anything around Cesar Romero and his
Uh,
run?
he's ignored a lot, and he deserves to be remembered because it was an interesting Joker. It's literally not like any of the other ones on our list. Not even close.
You're
He's
right.
like you said, he's the only one that's campy and fun.
And the whole show. And the weird thing is, up until like this debuted in '67, you don't even get another iteration of the Joker until '89.
Wow,
So
yeah.
you're almost like 23 years at that point. It's you're the 20 mark of all you had exposure wise of live action was Adam West chasing down Cesar Romero. So we're going to take a dive into the next version of the Joker, which is a trip away from what Caesar brought to the table, which was campy, hokey, kind of like, oh, cartoonish, into a more gangster role.
Yeah, here's going the completely other way. Here's looking at what Caesar built and going, all right, how do we make it Tim Burton-y?
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is you had that Tim Burton weird, quirky darkness to it.
Because you could definitely look at a show like Cesar Romero's Batman or Adam West's Batman, I guess we should say, and go, and then think of how Tim Burton sees movies like Willy Wonka, for example,
Yeah.
and go, oh yeah, you could definitely make that disturbing. You could definitely make that dark and weird and gothic.
Which is crazy because I know most of this is Joker focused, but to take a moment to talk about Tim Burton, he grew up with the original like Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka, Cesar Romero's
Yeah.
Joker, and went, how can I make this my spin and make it creepy?
Yeah.
And that creepiness is just. I don't think it was fully portrayed in 1989's Batman,
No.
but it did have the Tim Burton feel to it.
It did have that type of gothicness, undertones, kind of. It was more like in the city that you saw the weirdness.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think he got more like this. I think if I wasn't mistaken in my research, this was Tim Burton's first big film.
You know what the most Tim Burton part of that movie is? Is the parade, the balloons and all. That's like,
Yeah,
that's probably like the most Tim Burton scene of that whole movie.
without a doubt. And I think this was his big first blockbuster. I did air quotes because we're doing a podcast and you can see my damn fingers. But this was like
Here's
his
the sound.
yeah, this is his big crack at a blockbuster or summer blockbuster movie because you could tell when he got a second crack at it, way more Tim Burton in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With Danny DeVito's Penguin,
Yeah,
Catwoman, like
definitely.
they went hard. He went hardcore of like, nah, this is gonna have my stank on it. But to give you some notes about Jack Nicholson's take on Batman, he wasn't originally the first choice of Tim Burton. Burton's original casting was Brad Dourif. And for those of you who don't know who that man is, he is the original voice of Chucky from Child's Play.
And was he the actor in the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
we
briefly
actually
in that
see
movie.
him becoming Chucky. So that guy was Joker.
Yes, and if you didn't see the original Child's Play, he's also in Rob Zombie's Halloween. He was a sheriff.
Okay.
But that was Tim Burton's original choice from it, which I think is pretty interesting because if you think of the way he voiced Chucky,
Yeah.
he probably would have brought that darker
Yeah.
twist to it rather than a gangster.
They wanted a big name.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened because the studio just kind of went, nope, you're not hiring him.
Wow.
But aside from him, there was a couple other interesting names out there, and we'll go one by one and just kind of say, hey, how would that have worked? The first one on my list is Tim Curry. And at this point, you saw him in Rocky Horror,
Yeah.
and then I think he just had a couple other. I can't think of any movies he had in between Rocky Horror and like Dunstan Checks It.
He probably had something that were just. Wait, was Legion that one where he's a devil? That might have came out around that time.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I think Clue may have came out before that
Maybe.
too.
I feel like Clue was 90s.
But to me, when the studio wanted big names, I love Tim Curry. He is an icon.
You know, like thinking back to Cesar Romero now is like Tim Curry kind of has like a Cesar Romero look to him.
Yes, and I have a feeling they probably watched Rocky Horror and goes, he looks good with the white face paint.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting. The only problem I probably would have had with Tim Curry is the voice.
Yeah.
He has a very distinguishing voice, both in Rocky Horror and as Nigel Thornberry.
I'm picturing him doing Pennywise anytime I try to picture a Joker voice, and I think it's just because clowns.
Yeah, which was kind of slow and drawn out in that. Like, hey there, Georgie.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey there, Brucey.
yeah, he just has a. I don't know. His voice, you could when you hear Tim Curry, you know it's Tim Curry.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of would have
Somewhere in the
taken away
multiverse, like all these actors actually play Joker, and
I think in '89 we got the best choice with Nicholson out of at least the names that were pitched. The other one that was friggin' weird, and I don't think he was acting at the time, but he was a major rock star, David Bowie.
that would have been so friggin' weird. And the music that we would have gotten. Because we put Prince in that movie.
I was gonna say you would have lost Prince if you had Bowie.
You don't get Bat Rap, but you get like, I don't even know, Star Bat.
Ziggy Stardust, yeah, Ziggy Bat. But to me, did he even have Labyrinth under his belt at that point?
No, I don't think so.
Because I thought that was like a '90s movie, like early '90s, so it might have been around this time. But David Bowie as the Joker, I would say he'd have the mannerisms down, and maybe even a creepy like tone to him.
He would have been, I feel like he would have been like a sexy Joker. Like, really like,
Sexual and just
yeah, like really like.
touching up on people. Again, making motions on a podcast that people can't see.
Like grabbing Batman's non-bat nipples. Didn't happen yet, but.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you look at because we got two more names to go over this. If you look at the list of casting choices who were up for it, to me, the Joker would not have been a gangster. Maybe with Brad Dourif, he might have been able to pull it off. Tim Curry, I don't think would have been a gangster.
I don't see him being a gangster.
David Bowie's not a gangster.
No.
The next one's John Lithgow, and he's just awkward as it is.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a role where, even when he was in Dexter as the Trinity Killer, he's still awkward. Like, I didn't see him as a threat, even though he had, like, the most murders down under his belt.
What was even, like, his role by 89? What would he even been known as?
Harry and the Hendersons or whatever. He didn't have much, and maybe that's why they were taking a chance on him.
Yeah.
But I also think he had that weird hair,
Yeah.
like that huge receding hairline that he's got.
Because, like, okay, so anytime I hear his name, I think of, was it Third Rock from the Sun?
Yes.
Yeah, because he was the leader of that. So, like, okay, he has comedic chops. Now, what's he sell now? Doesn't he sell? You simply must try it.
Oh, he does caviar commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what the hell is it? Is it caviar?
It's that, or is that Grey Poupon mustard?
It might be mustard.
It's
know.
something people don't eat.
It's something that they needed John Lithgow to try and sell.
But like, I mean, his most famous role these days has to be for us as adults is probably the Trinity Killer from Dexter.
Yeah.
Kids, Lord Farquaad.
Oh right, yeah, Farquaad.
So like, he's just again, that's another one where the voice I don't think fits it.
He's always been old to me. I feel like even in '89, he just looks like an old man.
Yeah, he was old in Henry and or whatever the Hendersons, whatever the fucking movie is about.
Is that what? Wait, what the hell is Henry and the Hendersons?
It's the one where he sends Bigfoot. Yeah.
Is it in that?
Yeah, he's the dad.
All right.
But he's old in that.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those actors like Morgan Freeman who's just been old his entire run.
Just born old.
But it's an interesting choice.
I cannot see him being Joker whatsoever.
Well, the weird thing is, and I don't know if you're doing this as well as me, I'm reading these names and I'm associating with the gangster version they went with.
Yeah.
Do you think... I'll get the last name out and then we'll revisit it. But the last one was James Woods.
I mean, yeah, probably James Woods could actually pull it off.
He would have been the closest to the Jack Nicholson version. But that's kind of brings down the question. And I don't even know what James Woods was doing at this point. Because I don't think he got any of his really good roles until the 90s.
Yeah, he's probably doing weird stuff.
But
he's probably doing James Woods stuff.
Taking these he's just picking a piece of candy.
Oh, piece of candy.
But taking all these actors into consideration, Brad Dourif, Tim Curry, David Bowie wasn't an actor at the time, John Lithgow, and James Woods. Obviously, whoever was making these casting decisions and running these people through the ringer to go through the auditions I can't see how they had a gangster in mind.
Unless they were like putting these names out there to be like, we really want Jack Nicholson. Mm-hmm. So this is the best gangster you're going to get. Well, what was Jack? Jack Nicholson was like shining at this point, and
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
oh
Nest.
yeah,
He had a
definitely.
lot under his belt at that point, and was a serious A-lister actor.
Oh, absolutely.
And the crazy thing was, he was the first choice since 1980 for the producers Uslan and Kane. So they're producing the movie. They all in their mind in 1980, Jack Nicholson was Joker. They also Nicholson was a fan favorite choice according to the New York Times in an April 9th article in 1989.
Yeah.
So fans were like, "Yeah, I'm cool with it."
Oh yeah.
Whereas like when we get later, there's backlash
And I
anytime
mean-
they announce someone.
I mean, I guess it worked. He's been the fan favorite probably up until Heath Ledger. Probably narrowed it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Oh, well, okay. I don't even know if a Joker came out between that. So yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, when they announced Heath Ledger, people were pissed off because it wasn't a Jack Nicholson type Joker.
Oh yeah. Which we'll definitely go over all that with Heath. But,
Oh, for sure. And the one casting that didn't even get an audition that I thought was a holy shit moment. Like, how didn't you even give him a shot? But according to a documentary released in 2005, Shadows of the Bat, the cinematic saga of The Dark Knight, The Gathering Storm,
Okay.
Robin Williams was
Yeah.
lobbying to play the role of the Joker.
Yeah. But okay, at 89, he's known for Mork and Mindy. He's known for his stand-up.
Which, if
He's
you watch
known
his
for doing a
stand-up-
lot of cocaine.
Exactly.
Probably why the studio didn't want to take a chance.
If there's one villain in the Batman universe that's cocaine, it's the Joker.
Oh my god, he would have been absolutely brilliant, though. That would have
Yeah.
been amazing.
Because if you think
That would have been a complete. I feel like he would have went into that, and they would have went, all right, he's not a fucking gangster, but he's whatever Robin Williams wants to do.
well, think about it. If you can bring his quirky and goofiness of his stand-up and Mork and Mindy and all that, like Jumanji and all that stuff he's done, and combined it with what he did in his later years with like 1 Hour Photo and the creepiness,
Yeah,
he may have been the Joker in real life.
yeah. He was still auditioning for Joker.
Yeah,
up
he's
until
like-
his death.
Oh, well, you got a new Batman coming out? I'll do it. Fuck
Yeah.
Heath Ledger. But I thought it was interesting that they didn't even really give
That
him
would
a
have been
shot.
incredible.
Yeah, and I think out of this list of people, he's probably the second biggest name.
I always kind of felt that Jack Nicholson, even though I like Jack Nicholson in the movie, is the least Joker.
He's a gangster.
He's his own character. Like,
Yes.
I've never read a comic where I'm like, oh, this kind of reminds me of Jack Nicholson's Joker. And I've read a lot of friggin', well, okay, maybe,
I can't think of one.
I don't know. There's probably, like, something that I'm not thinking of.
Probably
but,
one based on the movie.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. A writer who looked at that and went, okay, I'm going to write it like this.
That's a good point, too, because if you were to take Jack Nicholson's character out of the Batman, because this is one of the first movies, they gave him a name. He was, what, Jack Tripper or whatever?
Yeah.
So they gave him a name, they gave him a backstory, and they showed what happened to make him who he is. But you take that character out, he fits in any Scorsese film
Oh, sure.
as a villain.
Yeah.
It's the guy, he's the Departed role all over again. But it's to me, it's interesting that, like, you got all these quirky people who auditioned, or really wanted it and get a chance to audition. And then you went, I'm going to go with the angriest, oldest guy I could find
Yeah.
in Jack Nicholson.
I mean, to play opposite Michael Keaton, too, which Michael Keaton was comedic roles at that point, too. He was Mr. Mom. And,
Yep, multiplicity, all
Yeah.
those type of things. And he played, out of all the Batmans, he's been my favorite.
Oh, yeah, he's still my favorite.
If you exclude Adam West, I feel like every time you go into, like, what's your favorite, like, live action character, you just go, well, you don't count the 60s.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about my lifetime, it's definitely Michael Keaton.
Yeah, it's 100% Keaton.
But to me, it was interesting that, like, they went with Nicholson and they went with the gangster role. But a note on Lithgow, apparently during his audition, he tried to talk Tim Burton out of casting him, not realizing how big a deal the character was at the time, and ultimately regretted doing that.
How do you not know? How do you not know, hey, Batman's going to be huge?
If there's one guy on this list that would not know about Batman, it's John Lithgow. Oh, I'll play Farquaad, and fuck this shit. I'm going to go play Farquaad. From that weird fairy tale nobody knew about until DreamWorks made a movie.
Oh, my gosh.
But the weird thing is, by picking Nicholson, they brought a lot of baggage with him because he came with several demands to set, including time off from shooting during the day, time off for Laker home games,
Oh, my God. Come on.
top billing, and he would only do his shots within a 3-week span. He ultimately received $6 million for playing the role, as well as a large percentage of the box office, which was estimated between $60 and $90 million.
It's funny that you mentioned the top billing, because this is going to get a little bit off topic, but it's still Jack Nicholson. I just watched Mars Attacks, because I have the DVD, and I was like, there's extras in it, and there's extras about the cast, so they do like Martin Short and all of them, and like Pierce Brosnan. Jack Nicholson's about, and it's like a paragraph for everybody. Jack Nicholson's was like 4 freaking like pages, clicks, of like all of the movies he did up until that point, whatever year that was. I think it's like 96.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude. And then like, because I knew we were going to be doing this, so I already read like about Jack Nicholson's demands. And I was just like, yeah, so nothing changes from 89 to like 96, whatever year that was.
And I'm sure it got even worse the more he got, the older he got.
Yeah, like...
Because he doesn't even act anymore these days.
I mean, obviously he's a big star. He's He's definitely the A-lister on that list.
Yeah.
He's definitely bigger than Keaton and everybody at that point.
Billy D, who got shafted.
I think the only one who was bigger might be Prince.
That's a good point. That's such a great... The visual of him putting Trust on and then just dancing to it in the museum. God. Hopefully, throughout this podcast lifespan, at 2 or 3 weeks, I stop doing motions that cannot be seen on an audio
You've only been
thing.
doing this for, like, what, a decade?
Yeah, I know. That's why we moved it in front of the camera, because it's like, I move so much. But the Trust scene, like, let's dive into him actually playing the role of the Joker.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, he made it his own. Definitely did that. I wonder how much they wrote for... Because I feel like you can write a character and then tell that actor, hey, play the character. Or you write for an actor and then try to turn that actor into the character. I feel like with Nicholson, it's probably the later. They probably wrote for Nicholson and been like, all right, let's try to make Jack Nicholson as much Joker as we can, instead of let's try to make the reverse. You know what I'm saying?
That's very similar to what they did with Williams and Aladdin. Mm-hmm. They just put him in front of Mike, let him go, and then we'll animate around you.
Yeah, so they, in a sense, animated the Joker around Nicholson.
Yeah, because to me, I would really be curious to pick Tim Burton's mind to see if that was the version of the Joker he was thinking.
I bet you anything Burton didn't like it.
No, he probably wanted something creepy, because that's Burton's MO.
Yeah. But he was probably thrilled as shit because he's a young director at this point, and he's working with Jack Nicholson. He's working with, you know, there's probably not many bigger names in '89 than Jack Nicholson.
No, he was probably top tier, because even Michael Keaton, he was a rising star at that point, and that's probably around the time where he kind of peaked and kind of punted off again. But you can obviously tell, as we said earlier, between Batman and Batman Returns, the studio's influence, and then you did really good with that. Do whatever you want in the next one, and how creepy he made the Penguin.
Yeah.
It's kind of reversed. You would think the Penguin would have been more gangster.
Yeah.
And the friggin' Joker would have been more creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting to look at that dynamic of Joker and Penguin, because Joker's kind of like playing it safe. It's kind of like, look, it's just a gangster. And then it's like, all right, you want to see some shit? Here's the Penguin. Yeah. Here's an orphan that was born in a sewer, and he bites off people's noses and eats fish. Yeah, I love that scene. I always think about that scene. Him eating the fish like that.
And every time he walks, he's just... he's just grunting the entire way.
I'm pretty sure that's just Danny DeVito.
We need down the line to do a Danny DeVito retrospective episode.
Yeah, all right. That's the next one we're doing, is Danny DeVito.
God,
let's just stop doing Joker right now and do Danny DeVito.
Because he only got better with time. Because he's in It's Always Sunny now. But back to Jack Nicholson and playing the Joker. So the part we talked about a little bit is, this is kind of... Burton gave him a backstory in this, where he was a gangster working for... I forget what the actor's name is, but he was in City Slickers, and he was Curly.
Oh, yeah. Dude, shit, it's like Bob or something is his henchman. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but I'm talking about, the top tier guy that they worked for that ultimately, gave he was, the mob boss that Jack worked for.
Oh, yeah.
Bob was the weird...
And then he, comes back and,
yeah, and he kills him at one point.
Yeah.
But that was Curly from
Okay.
City Slickers.
But they made his little henchman, I think it's like Bob or something, they made a toy out of him. And I was like, who the hell's looking for this?
He was like a Bobcat Goldswaith fill-in.
Yeah.
Just like a skinnier version if they needed like a weird shot. But they gave him a backstory where he was a gangster, kind of just like
I kind of like his backstory.
he was trying to come up the ranks in the Gotham mob, more or less, and then just kind of got screwed over.
Yeah.
And then that's usually any backstory that Joker has. Usually he gets screwed over, which I think that may be close to the Killing Joke.
Did Batman cause that to happen? I forget what happens in
Yes.
'89. Like, Batman stops the whatever the hell they were doing, robbery thing.
They're at Ace Chemical Plants,
Yeah.
and he drops in, and they get into like a little bit of scuttle, and then kind of knocks him in.
Batman
But he
knocks him
goes to grab him.
And then in that movie, also Jack Nicholson's character is the one that kills the parents, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, tying everything together. And Martha Wayne lost her pearls again.
Yeah. I think it's one of the movies where they showed it multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, just not once. Like, let's just watch that friggin' pearl bounce off the fucking cement. He ended up with his gangster role. How did you feel about that? Because if you've read The Killing Joke,
Oh, yeah.
he was a poor man down on his luck
Right.
and just kind of got pulled into the mob life just to make ends meet, and then got knocked into the vat.
And, yeah.
Like, you kind of felt for him.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if that comes through enough.
No, this one, they out the
Yeah.
gate, he's a bad guy. We
Yeah.
made him a worse guy.
Right, yeah.
Did you like that kind of dynamic with it?
I mean, it's two different takes, really. But yeah, I guess it really does work for that of, no, he's just a straight up bad guy. He's always been a dick. Like, you don't want, okay, you have like one of the best actors. You don't ever want to root for Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, if
know,
you give him a little leeway, it ruins the movie.
Yeah, it's going to ruin it.
Because they even go out of their way to make it look like Batman lunging for him. Because if Keaton just kind of knocked him off and went, sucks to be you, man. It's like, oh shit, Batman just killed that guy.
You're right. So you definitely want Batman to be the hero and Joker to be the bottom. And this is really when, okay, Joker is his worst enemy. It's going to be Joker. Joker is, I really feel like with this film, that's when it kind of really gets cemented that his arch nemesis is Joker. There's no question about it.
Which starts triggering a lot of the comics of like, okay, people loved it.
Oh, people love Joker
Let's
after
just
this
keep
too.
going after it, hammering the stories
Yeah,
home.
Joker, I remember as a kid, Joker became my favorite villain. Still is to now. Like, I wanted Joker toys. I wanted all of it. Like, I remember the toy, though, that came out for this movie did not look like Jack Nicholson. It looks like Cesar Romero's Joker. It's like this little skinny kind of dude. Unless, like, they made... Oh, wait, now I kind of remember a different one, too. But yeah, I definitely had... So it might have been a different set. But I definitely had a Joker that looked like Cesar Romero's Joker. But now I'm remembering a different one, too.
I can see that. I mean, if you look at some of these early Batman movies, I think when it comes to the Joker, he, and correct me if I'm wrong, he may have been the only clear-cut villain. Because Catwoman she got pushed around by Christopher Walken's character.
Yeah.
Penguin, he was a baby that was abandoned.
Yeah. Penguin actually has a point where he's trying to become a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's, like, really buying it. And then, actually, Batman is like, this guy's kind of an asshole, so I'm going to show that tape and all that. Yeah. Well, no, because he wanted to really become the mayor to get all the kids.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
To take him back to his weird life.
Yeah, so he was, like, a bad guy.
Yeah, so he might have been the only other one, because, I mean, in theory, they briefly showed Tommy Lee Jones being a prosecutor and then going into the whatever the fuck he was. And then Enigma, him being quirky, not bad.
Yeah.
Then having that kind of like...
Yeah, he just wanted to invent something, and then...
Yeah, which was the same with Poison Ivy and the same with, well...
Joker,
Freeze.
like, what was even, like, his...
He was just a monster, right out
Yeah,
the gate.
he just wanted to watch the world burn.
Sort of, yeah. And I think that's, to me, when it comes to those four movies, if you keep them in a bubble and analyze them, that's probably the best take on it.
I guess, like, his actual goal in that movie was he wanted Vicky Vale. Like, that kind of became his
Yeah.
Like
That
his
and to be
thing.
the head mobster.
Yeah.
Like he wanted the power, he wanted the money, he wanted all of it.
Stop the presses. Who's that?
So now that we'll jump ahead to where he's fallen in the vat, he's made the transition. He is now Joker.
Yeah.
How did you feel about his presentation? Because I think he is definitely a good transition Joker when we go from Caesar to Heath, where he had a little bit of that quirkiness,
Yeah.
but had that darkness as well.
Yeah. I feel like the darkness definitely outshined the quirkiness, but you see the quirkiness in like the museum scene, where does he get those wonderful toys like the balloons and all that, and but yeah, like not much laughter and joking, more just very serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, this movie, and I don't think I've probably beat this dead horse. It's a gangster movie. Realistically, that just the gangster's nemesis is Batman.
Yeah. Like, oh, I forgot like the whole other plot of the whole makeup thing. He wanted to poison everybody and all that. Rewatching that movie as an adult and seeing the newscasters have like no makeup on, I was really like, oh, they look ugly because they're not wearing makeup. Everybody's scared.
Yeah.
I I might like his whole what would you call it, grand scheme the most of just like that's very Joker of poisoning makeup and you don't know which combinations and
Yeah.
all of these kind of things, and which we haven't really seen if he knows how to use chemicals and stuff like that. Like we don't really see that too much more that I can remember.
No, because
Yeah.
I mean, in the future, you're gonna have a guy who does have a lot of like elaborate traps, but you don't see the planning stages
Yeah.
because they obviously don't want you to think he's a planner. And then you have the fucktard in the middle, and then Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah.
which we'll get into.
But yeah, he uses gadgets. This Joker uses the flower. He has the extra long gun. He has the bang that like is actually a spear type thing.
He hit the teeth
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
I think
when
he had a bomb. At some
yep,
point? Yeah.
because as he's like bargaining for his life as he's going back, which I guess we go into that point now. How do you feel that they killed him?
Yeah, I kind of like how he died with the which I used to do to freak my sister out. She used to be scared to death of it.
It is creepy. My
Yeah.
sister laughs like that,
Yeah.
and it's horrifying.
His like whole death of like he's like hanging and he's still going crazy. Like he loses his shit at that point where he's just like going nuts. He's like, ooh, ha, 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 ha.
Which is
Like
kind
he
of
knows he's going to die at this point, and he kind of like loses it and becomes he's very Joker in that moment
yes.
where
And
he's hanging.
do you think in 2008 when they did The Dark Knight they called back to that moment?
Yes, I definitely do.
Because
Like,
I mean
he's-
we'll talk about it
yeah,
later,
yeah.
but there's that moment where he's
definitely like yeah, it felt very much like that. Like yeah, in that kind of tower type area and all that.
yeah, makes sense
Yeah.
because he's laughing, he's giggling, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna find out that I broke your White Knight," and blah blah blah. And that's kind of how the Jack Nicholson death is like, "Oh, you're about to kill me. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna break the rule that is not within
Yeah.
this."
Your little arbitrary rule of don't kill people.
Yeah.
You have to now. There's no way. I'm not letting you save me.
Yeah.
I'm falling, and I have this weird ass laughing box, and it's going to be my final joke.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I thought was really good. Like,
It's disappointing. I guess we're as adults now, and the generation we're living with when it comes to cinema, we're spoiled with like a villain doesn't have to die because
yeah.
they could come back.
Oh my gosh!
later.
But in that time period, no, the villain dies.
Everything there was a finality
Yeah.
to that villain in each arc.
Yeah. Now it's like it's all ambiguous. We might get a whole universe built. Back then, we didn't get universes.
No, not at all.
They like that kind of like pissed me off too with like the next one. Like he doesn't even mention Joker in the next one.
No, he
it's
does.
not. Yeah, it's not. Oh, we built this. We beat this guy. You know, it's the same Batman. All of it is still the same. Same Penny or not Penny.
Same Alfred,
Yeah.
and even same Harvey Dent at that point who got screwed.
Oh right.
Poor
He was
Billy,
doing Call 45 commercials. He's fine.
poor Billy D. Lando Calrissian. But before we move on to the weird versions of the Joker. Any other final notes when it comes to Jack Nicholson in 1989's Batman?
He definitely set a bar for Joker.
Yeah.
I think after that, Joker was kind of looked at as like a serious role. Like, hey, Nicholson play Joker. Like, I'm going to take this shit serious. Like, probably now when Christian Bale's Joker comes out, is like, yo, who's going to be Joker? Like, we'll get to that, but there's a high bar now. Like, an A-lister play Joker, and maybe not to comic book fans who really analyze it, but to just regular cinema goers, he knocked it out of the park. People loved it, you know? He was a great villain.
In the same instance, you don't get another Joker on the big screen for another 20 years.
Yeah. So
that is, in theory, our Joker from growing up. Fucking hand gestures. But it is. And like you said, he set a high bar. Because like that Jack Nicholson was our Joker. If you put aside the Mark Hamill cartoonish version, which I think most of us are smart enough to look at it and go, there's cartoon version, there's live action version.
And obviously, the cartoon can be more Joker because, I mean, what's a comic book if it's not a cartoon? It's just not moving.
Yeah, and then our worlds got ruined when we found out Luke Skywalker was the Clown Prince as well. But Jack Nicholson's Joker's in the book. We're going to move on to a couple, like, there's 3 Joker appearances that happened, but nothing until the turn of the century.
Our listeners are just going to have to look these ones up. Nobody's going to remember these.
I urge you to look it up. Because they are, like you said, they are absolutely interesting.
Oh my gosh.
But nobody took a crack at the Joker until 2000. And the first crack at the Joker as a live action role, very cartoonish version, was for the Batman OnStar commercials. If you're young, you probably don't even know what the hell OnStar is.
Yeah, I had to think too. I was like, wait, is OnStar even a thing anymore?
Yeah.
Before cell phones were around.
In movies where you see they push their ceiling and they talk to someone, that was
OnStar.
OnStar.
And it was just yeah. You'll figure out what OnStar is. I'm not going to sit here and describe OnStar.
The even weirder thing is who they chose to play.
Do we know who played Batman?
Joker? No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kevin Conroy? Did he? He might have done that.
He might have did the voice. I don't know.
But they got fucking Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Curtis Armstrong.
Booger is a Joker. So remember how I was saying there was a bar for live action Jokers? Nah, we can get Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
If it's an OnStar commercial, at least.
I mean, you're not going to get Jack Nicholson for an OnStar commercial. And at this point, he was still alive. But I don't think he would have... oh, no, he was dead.
Who's Cesar Romero?
Yeah, he was dead at this point.
Yeah, he dies in 94. Right?
Yeah, he would have been happy that he was dead at this point. Because it's weird. Like,
it's very...
It's not even... It's Booger.
Dude, it looks like a Spirit of Halloween Joker. Like, not even a good one.
You remember Back to the Future 2?
Right.
When you're ordering your milkshake at the shop and there was that guy's face that was like all disoriented and he was trying to take your order. That's what the Joker looked like to me in this.
Yeah.
And then had Booger's fucking voice.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't do anything with different voices, which...
Didn't try to mask it.
Yeah.
It just, I'm Curtis Armstrong and this is my voice.
And like, you don't even really get that good of a look to be like, it's Booger. So why'd they even go with him? Why were they even like, look, we want a name. We don't want to spend a lot of money, but... What's Booger doing?
Yeah, I guess you weren't filming
American Dad isn't out yet. It's the year 2000, so...
It's an interesting commercial. I urge you to... It's on YouTube. Get on that Google machine and
to bring up something, too, he uses a trap. At one point, he shoves like a little like barricade up from the road, and that's what Batman hits. So he hits it with his car, and then OnStar... Which, how the fuck this worked out, OnStar's like, hey, Batman, are you okay? Which his answer should have been like, I'm fucking Batman. I don't need OnStar.
He's got a utility belt. He should have been able to hit. Man, this was a horrible marketing campaign. Because you're marketing to people who can drive.
And then he tells them, he's like, bring the cops. Get the cops over here. I'm gonna go get the Joker. How do you even install like a barricade that it pops out of the road with Joker's face on it?
That's a
Have you ever seen construction in Gotham? I don't know. I guess it's different than here.
It's Camden.
In the real world.
So for those of you in the Jersey area, you know what Camden looks like. That's what they were driving through.
Yeah.
To me, there was, like you had said, you didn't even know it was Curtis Armstrong. I had to look it up because they put so many prosthetics on the man.
Yeah,
Like
and
his
it's
face
dark,
was
and
yes. So that was one. He only did one take, from what I understand. He did one commercial. And that
that's
was
all
it.
fucking Booger needs.
That's true.
But he still took off to go to Lakers games.
Yes,
He demanded it.
he wanted
It's like if
top
fucking Nicholson gets it, so does Booger. So does the
billing on
Boogman.
the OnStar commercial. The next time they get into the Joker, it goes back to television, but it was only a cameo part, and it was on the series Birds of Prey in 2002, back when it was like the WB. Like, it's now CW. It was the WB back then. Again, for young listeners. But was portrayed by Roger Stoneburner. Did not find anything on him.
Okay.
But it was still voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yeah, so like, what the hell, man?
Why not just use Mark Hamill at that point?
Yeah.
Like, because you barely, like you and I watched the clip before we started recording. You barely see him.
Yeah, it's just like, he's got this weird nose still. Like an extra long nose.
Come to think of it, at those two, what's with the damn prosthetics?
Yeah.
You didn't use You used makeup on both of the other two actors, but you didn't use prosthetics.
Obviously, you have to use like some white makeup and green hair, but you don't need to give him like a giant weird nose.
Yeah.
It's not what I think of when I think Joker. I'm like, oh, the guy with the weird nose. What the hell's the point?
Yeah, that's awful.
They just had it lying around, I guess.
It's like, hey, just slap this on
Slap
there.
that on.
The next guy is Andrew Koenig, and this is from like an independent film called Batman Dead End. Again, go on YouTube,
Yes.
find this.
Look, if you don't want to search the other two, fine, but search this one. Holy shit.
It's from
It's like 8 minutes.
Yes, it's an 8-minute short. It's from 2003. An interesting note is that Koenig, he unfortunately passed away 2 years after the death of Heath Ledger by hanging himself. Like, when I was doing my research on like who the hell are these people that are playing it, so I have some talking points. I don't know why each article felt like they had to say that.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting short. I urge you to go watch it. The fucking alien and predator in it.
Yeah. Batman fights the alien and then fights Alien. I don't want to spoil, but Alien actually takes Joker.
Yes.
Joker and Batman fight a little bit. They're about to fight more. Fucking Alien swoops down out of nowhere, as in like Sigourney Weaver Alien,
Yes.
Xenomorph Alien, grabs the Joker, who's wearing a, what do you call that? A stretch? No. Damn it.
Like a green suit type thing, right?
It's like when crazy people.
Oh, straitjacket.
Straight jacket, yeah. He's wearing like a straight jacket. He escaped from Arkham. He calls Batman Daddy.
Yeah.
He's got kind of just a weird face.
Something makes me feel like this film was made by a disgruntled WB employee who said, I'm going to take all your properties and put them in one 8-minute short.
It's such a weird little thing that you owe yourself to go watch it.
It's worth it.
It's so weird. His voice is really like, I don't even know. It's not a Joker voice. It's just kind of like a pissed off emo kid voice.
Yeah. It's like a bad impression of the Joker.
Yeah.
As the Joker's voice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I feel bad for shitting on it. The guy hung himself like the article had to tell us like 20 times, but
After those three soirees into the role itself, we get to the big one. 2008, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, coming off huge success from Batman Begins, having a great villain in Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, which,
by the way, when that movie ends, we know Joker's next. So we have years of speculation. Well, maybe not years.
I think it came out in 2005, so at least 3 years.
Okay.
And we didn't even know who the Joker was going to be.
Yeah, so of speculation of who Joker's going to be, and I remember some of the names they said.
It's weird because they teased it by showing the calling card, but if you watch The Dark Knight, it's kind of like he wasn't there yet. Like he blew in after the fact.
Yeah.
Because in theory, I think at the beginning of Dark Knight, and it's been a while since I've watched this, shame on me, Gotham was doing fairly well at this point after the Ra's al Ghul attack. Like he was slowly getting it to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Because the mobsters hid in the dark, they did everything low key, and then this fire.
Yeah, they were scared of the Batman, and then this Joker comes out. Which, holy shit, the opening scene of The Dark Knight is still like the best opening. I'll just watch that sometimes.
Yes.
Like, dude, it was so good. And the mask they use is a callback to the original Joker mask that Cesar Romero wore in like his first appearance, or something like that.
Makes sense. Because that makeup scheme on those masks are very reminiscent of their henchmen.
Yeah, I think like that's what like Cesar Romero does. He's wearing that mask, takes it off, and oh my god, he's still a clown or some shit. So it was a callback to that.
So the important key talking point before we actually go into his portrayal of the role. Do you remember how you initially reacted?
I hated it. I'll admit, I absolutely hated it. I was like, he's going to fucking suck so much at this. Oh my god, I was so hateful. I remember being on message boards on like IMDb, being like, oh, it's gonna be shit. They're gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
He's coming off Brokeback Mountain.
Yes.
Which, this was a time when we weren't woke, ladies and gentlemen. So we were like, oh, the gay cowboy's going to be the Joker? No.
Yeah. I mean, between him and Chris Evans, when they announced him as Captain America, I remember losing my shit for both of those castings. And so much to the point, with Heath Ledger, I still didn't like it years after.
Really?
I look back on it fondly and find myself rewatching The Dark Knight the most out of the three.
So you hate it so much, you're just like, I refuse.
Well, I just kept going, oh, if he didn't die, it wouldn't be that great. Like,
yeah, you know what, that was, I can't even fault you for that, because that was like a popular idea. That it was like, because, dude, it was like shoved down your throat after that movie came out, that it was like, this is the best comic book movie that's ever going to exist. People still kind of act like that a bit.
Oh, yeah. And plus,
I mean, maybe not so much now we have MCU, but...
I hate Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
I think he's overrated. I don't care for his stuff. The Batman stuff is all I kind of watched of his. I remember because after the Batman trilogy, I was forced to go watch Interstellar. His 3-hour bullshit space movie. Or not, maybe it's not Interstellar.
Was it Interstellar? I liked Interstellar. Is that like, all right?
Yeah, where he ends up going, like, getting stuck between time or something like that.
Yeah.
I fell asleep during that. So I had a bias against Chris Nolan. I had also a bias that Brokeback Mountain was coming in to play this role. And it's like, you had Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, it just felt like such a drop-off.
Yes.
It was like, dude, we need to match the bar of Jack Nicholson. And you went Heath Ledger. You went 10 Things I Hate About You and Brokeback Mountain. Yeah. And that's really all, like...
A Knight's Tale. Great movie.
Okay, yeah. But, like, he wasn't... Look, people are going to act like, oh... He's this beloved actor. No, he wasn't coming into Dark Knight. He was not a beloved actor. He was, I don't want to say he was a nobody.
He was a teen heartthrob.
But he was not an A-list actor by any stretch of the imagination.
At least, he's not an A-lister, and he wasn't an actor that would have appealed to, like, fanboys.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a girls type of actor of, like, I don't want to say girls type of actor, but like...
He was in rom-coms.
Yeah, like a rom-com, a chick flick actor is what I wanted to say, yeah.
Because he was in A Knight's Tale, as we mentioned, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yep.
Like,
he was this hearthrobby guy.
Yeah, and then he did Brokeback Mountain for the gays, so...
He was way too good looking to be Joker, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now going
He's not going to be creepy at all, he's going to be like, yeah.
And going back to... I still watch this constantly. Like, if it's on Netflix, yeah, I'll put it on.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the only reason I keep Netflix, even though I own it and don't want to come downstairs again. All his lines are so quotable. Like,
yeah, oh my god, does he fucking kill it? Like, I completely ate my hat, whatever the fucking expression is, when that came out. I was like, alright, I was completely wrong. I was completely wrong. It's amazing.
So much so that when they casted Joaquin Phoenix as Joker, I went, well, I'll give him a shot.
Yeah. And now, anytime there's an actor that I don't like, except for like Ben Affleck, when I heard he was going to be Batman, I thought it was going to absolutely suck.
And it did.
But anytime like an actor comes out, oh, and Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor, I thought it was going to suck.
Yep.
And it did.
And it did.
But besides that, all right, like 50% of the time.
Well, to be fair, the DCEU sucks.
It does.
Their best projects were ones that they just kind of threw out there that they probably thought were going to fail.
Yeah.
But after Heath Ledger and Chris Evans, it's to the point where, like, I can't say shit.
Yeah, I remember Chris Evans was going to be Captain America. I was like, I'll give it a shot.
the fucking naked guy from Not Another Teen Movie, Johnny Storm, is going to have morals all of a sudden.
Number 2 from Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
He's an asshole. How the hell is he going to be the red, white, and blue?
Yeah.
But ever since those 2 roles, because I mean, you had Heath in 2008, and then you had Cap in 2010
About that,
or
right?
11. But they announced it fairly early that he was going to be Cap.
Yeah.
But even with Robert Pattinson as Batman, I gotta give it a shot.
Yeah, you have to.
Because
Like,
Heath Ledger defied expectations.
Heath Ledger shut up everybody.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he passed and then you get to be like, haha, I'm fucking amazing. Kiss my ass.
It's fortunate because then you have to see Jared Leto ruin it. Because I can't wait till we get to that.
Dude, if that third one would have came out and Heath Ledger was still going to be alive, like he would if Joker was still going to be alive, because it kind of ends.
He just got
with
locked up, more or less.
They absolutely, I think, would have made the third one not Bane and would have been Joker again. After the fucking success and how much people loved the Joker, that first one.
And the fact that they brought back Scarecrow every movie.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'll give Nolan credit for. He kept continuity.
Well, I think I read somewhere of the third movie of Scarecrow being the judge and all, that was going to be Joker.
That would have been good.
But in my opinion, I'm like, dude, it's too little of a role for Joker. Like, after that movie, you're going to put Joker as, like, this judge. And he's just, like, has one scene who's like, ha ha ha, all right, I'm going to go back out. Like, I was like, no, it kind of fits Scarecrow of...
Yes, because it's a minor role, but still an important role, because he's obviously judging the 1%.
And he's judging the police guy. I can't think of his name. Gordon, yeah.
Which makes sense. It would be an interesting dynamic, because in theory, Bane released... Let's just say they stick with the same storyline. Bane releases all the criminals. In theory, Joker was locked up.
Yeah.
Why on earth do you think he would have... It wouldn't have been as low key. It would have. He probably would have crossed the bridge just to see it blow up.
Yeah, Joker probably would have like killed Bane and been like, "Nah, I can do this better." Like,
yeah, he would have looked for the bomb.
Yeah.
To set it off, or to get the upper hand, or provoke people to go crazy. But Heath Ledger, cast in The Dark Knight as the Joker, he comes in as a ball of fire. Like you said, that opening scene, very memorable, the whole bank heist where like he's the last to reveal.
I mean, like you said, every scene that he's on screen is memorable, quotable.
It just nonstop. Like it's weird that you look at a movie and can quote so many things from it.
Yeah.
And like word for word.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, how many times did you hear why so serious, or do you want to see a magic trick, or I just want my phone call? Like,
yeah,
everybody has like a Heath Ledger Joker impression, you know.
And it ripples into pop culture. Like like that year, The Office parodied it, where everybody came in and that was their costume.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that fucking Halloween, everybody was Heath Ledger Joker. Comic-Cons, everybody's fucking Heath Ledger Joker.
Yes.
You're Heath Ledger Joker or you're Deadpool. That's all you fucking are.
Somehow Deadpool.
Dude, I went to an anime con, an anime convention, and there was Jokers. Heath Ledger Jokers. And I'm like, I don't remember that anime. But like, it's just like, it's so ingrained into our pop culture now that geekdom is just, oh yeah, come on, Heath Ledger Joker. You're a part of us. You're part of the fabric.
So we touched on it a little bit. Him dying. Do you think it amplified it? Do you think it would have been still a good role? I know how I currently feel, but just kind of want your perspective.
It still would have been an amazing role. I think if he was alive, it would have just skyrocketed him to superstardom. Like, 100%. He would have gotten bigger roles, all kinds of stuff, bigger praise. He would have been like a geek god. Oh my god. Like, could you imagine a line if he went to like New York City Comic Con after that? Like, holy shit, it would have been like wrapped around like the entire city of New York. But him dying added something to the mystic of it, because I remember people saying, oh, he got so into the mind of Joker that's why he killed himself. And I never bought into that, but it does add something to the legend of it.
Yeah, the accidental overdose or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, he couldn't sleep because he was so
Oh,
into
he
the
was so out of his
role.
mind. And that's complete
And then
bullshit, and people that still believe it just need to shut the fuck up about that.
what added fuel to the fire is Jack Nicholson going, I warned him. The
Oh,
fuck, man?
yeah,
You
why
played a
the yeah,
gangster.
he did fucking say that.
It's like, you played a gangster. That you did
Oh my
not get to that
god.
level.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that, and I forgot how fucking pissed I was when I heard that.
It was just, to me, like, well, how could you
Oh,
have
this is
possibly
making me
warned
hate
him?
Jack Nicholson, this fucking podcast.
A little bit, because if you think about it, well, you do the research on it, you see his demands.
Yeah.
This clearly was just a role for him.
Yeah.
It was not like, oh, I
Oh, yeah,
love
yeah.
the Joker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where Heath
Heath
Ledger
Ledger
just
was loved the fucking
dove into the
Joker.
front.
Yeah.
And he
You
goes,
could tell.
I warned him. Did you warn him that he should took off for Lakers games? Like, well, what are you talking about, Jack? Because, like,
Yeah.
there's no way you went to the same mindset that Heath did.
Unless, like, he was saying, like, he warned him and it was in a different thing. Like, because maybe he, I don't know what he was saying he warned him for. Was he saying,
It could have been the grueling schedule, because if you look at most Batman movies, they're filmed during night.
or how it's going to propel you into superstardom? Because even the 89 movie kind of raised Jack Nicholson's,
It revitalized him.
yeah, I mean, even more, you know?
And Ledger already was like, he went right into another role
Yeah.
right after that, the imagination or whatever thing.
Yeah.
But it was just, for him to say, I warned you, it was kind of callous. Like, that's the quote you want out there.
Yeah, come on, man.
Like, oh, it's a shame. That would have been a lot better than saying, oh, I warned him.
Yeah.
But to me, at least, when after the movie first came out, I thought it was good. I did hold on to my hat, like, oh, it's overhyped because he passed away. But going back and just watching, like, the intricacies, his movements, his facial expressions, he is just so in that role.
Yeah.
And ultimately redefined it. Because now you went from, we talked about Nicholson kind of being like that transitional, and Cesar obviously being the hokey, phony one, or like the cartoonish one. This is a psychopath.
Yeah. And I wonder if, do we get the MCU if we don't have the success of Dark Knight? Do we get other studios looking at comic book movies and going, hey, you can make a lot of fucking money doing a good comic book movie?
I think it
Because
was
before this, we have shit like Daredevil. We have Spider-Man. Spider-Man made a fuck ton of money, too.
and X-Men.
Yeah.
Well, X-Men and X2. X3 could have killed the MCU
Yeah.
because that flopped. But, I mean, that year for comic book movies, his role alone, and then the same iconic role that started that year, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
True. Yeah. Okay.
And they both made a shit ton of money.
Okay, let's take Iron Man and compare it to, like, the Spider-Man. The Spider-Man movies aren't really that serious compared to Iron Man. Like, Iron Man has, hey, look, it's war. He sells weapons, which is more serious tone. Like, Dark Knight had a serious tone to it.
Yes.
Whereas Spider-Man was just like, oh, look, he's a dude that dresses like a goblin. Ha ha ha. There's an octopus guy. They're a little more campy and fun and popcorn movies. Whereas The Dark Knight, that's a serious movie.
Grounded in reality.
It's a hard look at a comic book.
Yeah, I think the closest Raimi would have gotten probably would have been with Spider-Man 2. Because you felt for Doc Ock.
Yeah.
A scientist trying to better the world, tragedy falls upon him, and then he redeems himself in the end. The Franco thing,
Yeah.
it was an interesting build, poor execution,
Yeah.
and probably poor actor. Like, I like James Franco, but not as, like...
Yeah. Same with Topher Grace. His Venom was just...
Yeah, so there was just poor casting choices, and those that kind of killed Raimi's design. And I don't think... Raimi do the third one? Or he left... No.
I don't even remember.
He did do the third one. X-Men had their director leave to do Superman.
Oh, right.
And they got the fucking guy from Rush Hour to do The Last Stand.
Yeah, okay.
But the interesting point is that we talk about how Heath Ledger's Joker was kind of defining for the DC as a whole. It's kind of where DC started going, we have something here. We have this entire library. Because then we got Green Lantern, even though that didn't really go
They
well.
really try and...
They're like, we're going to expand.
Yeah.
And then you also had that same year, because I remember the battle going back and forth with Batman fans, because I was an Iron Man fan. I was like, I'm more excited for Iron Man than I am The Dark Knight. So get your bullshit out of here. And then it was two iconic characters, because Iron Man obviously is at that same caliber. Robert Downey Jr. with his portrayal.
I would disagree.
Really?
That Iron Man's the same caliber at that point.
At that point, no.
Yeah, but okay. Maybe with Robert Downey Jr. definitely pulls it, but like I feel like there's people being like, what the fuck is Iron Man? Where everybody knows what a Batman is.
That's true.
We know who Iron Man is because we're comic book geeks.
That's true. That was a hell of a gamble for Marvel
Yeah.
to start with that.
Yeah.
But then again, that's
definitely.
all they owned at that point.
Yeah, fucking roll the dice on that one. Like, holy shit.
If it flopped, they would have walked away. Oh well. But you get one of probably the greatest arcs in cinema history from that.
If it wasn't, I mean, nobody else in that movie of Dark Knight is really that good. Who do you have that's really a bomb actor? Would you really say Christian Bale's Batman could have just carried that?
That's just a guy masking his voice the whole time.
Yeah.
I did like Aaron Eckhart's Harvey Dent. I wish they would have done more with Harvey. I was really disappointed.
You know what? I always kind of fucking forget about it. Like
he's overshadowed.
He's so overshadowed, but it's not bad.
But the whole movie's his story arc. If you think about it,
it really is. Yeah.
If you look at the way the story was designed, he's the guy in the middle. Batman's on the one side with his pulling on the ear. Joker's on the other side pulling the other ear.
Right.
And that's why.
It's Two-Face. Oh my god! I never. No.
But I would have honestly liked to see more of him, Aaron Eckhart. And I wonder if Heath didn't pass away, would Aaron Eckhart have gotten more praise? Because as soon as he passed away, completely overshadowed.
Do we get anything with him in the
you get
third
a
one? Because he's just dead, right?
You get a remembrance of him, of Gordon talking about him at the beginning of Rises.
Yeah. But he is definitively dead at the second one?
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yeah, they killed, I don't know why, but they killed him off.
Yeah.
I would have, if it went more than 3, it would have been interesting to be like, you know what, we didn't kill off Harvey, we just hid him from the public eye because he did all these horrible things.
Oh, that's right. He definitely dies because it's keep him as a hero, blah, 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 yeah.
So, a couple notes on Ledger's performance. He won several awards after he had passed away. He won Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, which is huge.
Which, by the way, a lot of people probably would go, oh, does he only win that because he's dead? It is an interesting thought. The Academy has done shit like that, but
yeah,
I like to think he still wins it.
But this is also the first one where an actor won for a comic book movie.
Yeah. Is it an actor winning it posthumously, too? Posthumously?
Words we can't say. That's why I have it written down here, but I skipped it and went, oh, after he died. Because I knew I would butcher that word. Yeah. He won a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor in Motion Picture. He won a BAFTA Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. They worded it differently. Fucking fancy. The Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor.
What the hell's Saturn?
You know, it's...
Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SAG Award, so that's the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
For outstanding performance by a male actor in a supporting role. And then Best Actor International Award in 2008 Australian Film Institute Awards.
He was Australian, wasn't
he? Yes.
I think so.
And the last one I have is July of 2008, after the conclusion of filming The Dark Knight, unfortunately, Ledger passed away from an accidental prescription drug overdose.
Oh, so he died before that movie even reached theaters, right?
Yeah, I think it came out at the end of July.
Yeah.
It was relatively close, because that ended up, I don't want to say boosting marketing, but now everybody was like, well, I gotta see his last role.
Well, yeah. I mean, it definitely, come on. You think Hollywood's not going to fucking try that one? You think Hollywood gives a shit that, like, a guy died? No. They're going to be like, yeah, you want to see this guy's last role? Come on. They
do that all the time when somebody passes away.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Like, I mean, the big thing going around these days is, and at this point, already has happened, Leia Organa and how Carrie Fisher will be put in Episode 9 of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, dude. They're definitely pulling that, which... But whatever.
But they did the same thing with Philip Seymour Hoffman in the Hunger Games. How are we going to put him in that? It's interesting how they do those things, and it intrigues people to go see how they do it.
They play it off like it's doing them a service. To some extent it is, but it's also to put fucking butts in seats.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Heath Ledger's Joker role. What's your favorite moment in The Dark Knight with him?
Oh, that's tough. Do you have one like right off the
I
bat?
do.
I th- I would think that my favorite would be the interview with Batman. It's just it's goading him.
You never
It's
start with the head. It makes things all so fuzzy.
yeah.
It's a good one.
Just it's so good. We don't really get to see Batman and Joker face to face ever again like that. And it's a battle of the minds. It's you're not going to break me.
Yeah.
I'm not like any other person you've ever dealt with.
Yeah, the line of there's nothing you can do to hurt me.
Yeah.
Mine personally was his interaction with Dent in the hospital.
Oh, that's a very
Being
good
the
one.
agent of chaos. And like, oh, I'm like a dog chasing a car. I don't know what I would do if I ever caught it.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's such a
that
good
is.
line.
I'm getting goosebumps now talking about
Yeah.
that line because it's just. To live that lifestyle has to be like. I personally overthink things 1,000 times, or I plan things out well in advance before I go after it. And to have that line of just like, I don't fuck I'm doing, I'm just wildfire. It
Yeah.
just happens. And then he goes and he puts the gun right to his head. He's like, now you're talking. Like,
Yeah.
he was excited that, like, he was
Yeah.
going to flip the coin.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And then we even get a little bit of him being kind of silly as he walks out, blows up the hospital, tries to hit the button, doesn't work at first.
Which was completely a filming mistake because he hit it and the timing was just off. And he looked back and went, they'll be hitting some more. And then it finally exploded.
So that wasn't even planned?
No.
Oh, that's so good.
I remember reading the production notes on that. Like, he's walking out, he hits the button, and then realized it didn't actually trigger. Because it was obviously a one-shot take, because they're blowing up a damn building.
Yeah.
And as soon as he did it, he reacted perfectly. And that's how, again, why Jack Nicholson infuriates me. In depth he was in the role.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely owned it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To improv like that and still, like, we're talking about it. Like, that was a huge Joker moment.
Yeah, it's so...
He nailed it.
You see memes of that and everything. I mean, and you have to mention the "Why So Serious" lines because that shit was quoted non-stop.
That was a huge part of their marketing campaign.
Yeah.
I remember the posters.
Yeah, the poster of...
It was the blood smear and a smile.
And he's kind of
it's
fuzzy,
like
yeah.
fuzzy in the background, and then just "Why So Serious" underneath.
Yeah.
The campaigning for that, I vividly remember. We were at Monster Mania, and they had vans driving around, like elect Harvey Dent.
Wow, that's so freaking cool.
And then you would get posters that, like, you'd have Harvey Dent on one side, and then you'd have the Joker makeup on the other side.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The marketing for that was just way over the
Oh,
top.
yeah. They knew they had a hit.
Yeah, whereas, like, The Dark Knight Rises, not the same. There's like, oh, just go see it because the last two were good.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing is just so good. We don't really see gadgets.
No. A little bit. I mean, because that's
He's
Lucius
kind of got...
Fox.
Yeah, and he has, like, the grenade on the, like, the string, I feel like is kind of a little thing.
The
Well, I meant, like, him using gadgets.
him?
Joker
Yeah.
using gadgets. Not really.
That's why I think he incorporates the whole gangster version. Because he
Yeah.
goes right to the mob and goes, give me half of your cut.
Well, that's another, like, part of him just setting the whole money on fire is just, like, such a, like... He's not doing this for money. Whereas, like, Joker's... Jack Nicholson's Joker kind of has a motive.
He would have
And
kept
this, and it's a perfect line, is some men just want to watch the world burn. And, like, I feel like Heath Ledger heard that line and just went, okay, that's exactly how I'm going to act the
Yes.
entire time. I'm a guy who wants to watch the world burn.
And that's
he
everything he
fucking
does.
Nails it, dude. He's my favorite Joker. Like, outside of Mark Hamill, is like...
Yeah.
I was asking this kid that I worked with one time of Jokers, and he actually ranked Heath Ledger's Joker pretty low because he said that it's like it's just a guy. It's not really like the Joker. It's a crazy person. I disagree. I wonder if other people think that. Maybe he's like one of those dudes who's like, everybody thinks Heath Ledger Joker, so I'm gonna try to swing as much the other way.
It could be. So, I may have saw his point of view before the latest Joker movie. because that it truly is just a guy.
Yeah.
And we'll get more detail of that. There is Joker aspects to him because how would he pull off half the shit he pulled off if he was just a guy?
Yeah. He's. What do you think about the fan theory that he's a vet that has PTSD? You ever hear that? Heath Ledger's Joker is a vet that has post-traumatic stress disorder.
He could. Because I thought that was another interesting point to the character in Nolan's. He changed his backstory each time.
Yeah. Which I feel like that's very Joker.
Yes.
Like, yeah. You don't know what Joker is, who Joker is, and that makes it even creepier.
Yeah, so the army theory could be perfectly plausible.
Yeah.
And he's just assuming identities of other people. Like maybe he was at war and saw a kid get his mouth cut.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, yeah. It definitely adds to the whole Wildfire type character. He is truly, it's Harvey's journey with Batman's influence, and then all of a sudden a wild card comes just beelining at Harvey. And that's the whole movie.
A wild card or a Joker card?
Jokers are wild. Yeah, see what I did there?
We do things.
Well, I feel like we could probably talk for hours on Heath Ledger's Joker. So let's talk minutes.
How long have we even been doing this?
It is 9:02. We started at 7:45.
Oh my god!
I
Nobody's gonna listen to this.
No, there's a good chance because we have a lot of detail. We have a lot of experiences we're sharing with it.
Plus, they can pause it and come back.
Yeah, like I don't want to plug other podcasts, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
Like this type of stuff's in the background. Anyway, God, I'm glad you stalled because I really don't want to go to this next one. His next appearance on screen, the character, the Joker, that is, not Heath Ledger, he was dead. Too mean, too soon. Was in Suicide Squad in 2016 as Jared Leto. Now, the interesting note is that he was originally supposed to debut in Zack Snyder's turd Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Oh, God.
But the character was ultimately cut and only referenced in the film.
Tried to watch that movie twice and fell asleep both times. I fucking hate it.
Suicide Squad or the Batman v Superman?
Batman vs. Superman.
You mean because they stopped fighting because both their moms were named Martha?
Martha, where's your name?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You know what pains me? And this is going off on a tangent.
Yeah, who gives?
This DCEU, Jeff Johns is a producer in all of these movies.
Yeah.
I really hope Jeff Johns just took the money and sat at home. Because if Jeff Johns, who wrote that great run at Green Lantern, who was also involved in that movie, and had that a great run with Aquaman, how could you let this happen?
Yeah, it's amazing.
My only thought is, he probably came to the table with great ideas and the studio went, we can't make toys. Or whatever the case may be.
Do you even sell toys? Like, when the fuck's the last time you saw a kid play with an action figure?
Especially these. Like, you got the guy who directed 300 to do Batman v Superman.
God.
It's not going to be a kid movie. And you basically, as a studio, went, hey, be like Nolan and be dark.
Make fucking movies for us millennials. We're the ones that are going to buy this shit.
Yes. Which the interesting note is, again, sidetracking.
Yeah, well.
The whole Spider-Man Sony Disney issue, it came out around the time we were recording this audio podcast, that the fan reaction to Tom Holland being ripped from the MCU is what brought them both back to the table.
Yeah.
That pretty much the door was shut, and then they saw the friggin' backlash and went, well, that could be bad.
Yeah.
And then they talked. That's what they should do. And I think that backlash and subsequent Joker film that came out in 2019 is key to hopefully get rid of Leto.
You know, we started this with saying, hey, there's a bar. And each time we've said there's a bar and the bar got met. Even with Heath Ledger, we went, the bar's not going to be met with that. That was the initial response.
Yeah.
And it was. How in the fuck do you go Heath Ledger to Jared Leto with, hey, we should write damaged on his fucking forehead so people know that he's crazy.
Yeah, so like to me, when I first saw the Jared Leto pictures and then
God.
saw the role, it really felt like they wanted him to have his own identity, but still have the identity of everything that came before him.
Yeah, it's so absolutely bizarre.
I want him to be creepy psycho like Heath Ledger. I want him to be gangster like Nicholson, and he's going to make weird jokes like Romero.
Yeah.
And it did not mesh well from 30 Seconds to Mars. I can't.
Oh my god, it's so fucking bizarre. Have you seen like the cutscenes of him interacting with Harley Quinn? It's so goddamn cringy. He's like, "Would you die for me?" She's like, "Yes." He's like, "Would you live for me?" And I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck are you writing?"
So, kind of calling back to what you had said earlier when we were talking about the Nicholson casting. Do you think that's how David Bowie would have ended up?
Yeah, you know what? Kind of like being like a sex. He was a sexy
Sexual?
Joker.
Yeah, he was a
He's
sexual
sexy
Joker.
Joker. I don't want sexy Joker.
No,
I
nobody
don't know
wants
who
sexy Joker.
does.
Even the girls were like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, even
'Cause
the.
you took away his sexy look and made him fucking garbage.
You know what drives me fucking insane? This is getting a little off topic, but these girls that all like are comic book geeks and will post shit like, "I'm Harley Quinn and he is my Joker and we're just in love." I'm like, you know, he beats the fuck out of Harley, right?
That's
Like,
Stockholm Syndrome at its finest.
it's literally Stockholm Syndrome.
There's a victim who went, yeah, I'm okay with my abuser.
Yeah.
And you guys went, I want to be that. I'll abuse you.
I could get on a whole fucking tangent of like weird cosplays I've seen, like Last of Us with like the guy and the girl. I'm like, that's like a daughter role. That's creepy.
Yeah.
Or Superman and Supergirl. I'm like, that's his cousin.
Incestual.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to spend too much time on it because I know we're going to talk a lot about Joaquin's
Yeah.
role.
So yeah, I'm good with just going. It sucks.
That's fair. Do you think, to give him the benefit of the doubt and the due diligence, because I have some notes here, but it's hopefully they're expired notes. Are there any saving graces to Leto's performance?
Oh my god, I don't. No,
Do you think Leto enhanced the Harley Quinn character?
no.
Do you think Suicide Squad even needed the Joker backstory?
We didn't need a Suicide Squad.
That's true. Hopefully James Gunn will save that.
Oh my god, just
Which is
what a
kind of
pile
like-
of shit.
Yeah.
I've seen people do cosplays better, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what the fuck to say about any of that. The only thing that I would have liked of like that Jared Leto, like that character, is if there was like Batman going through multiple universes and briefly ran into one that looked like that, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's fucking weird," and then he just left.
Or Batman going, all right, I'll break my rule this one time. Bam! He just moved
I
on
just
to the
fucking
next
killed
one.
with a gun too.
Yes. Like, where the fuck did Batman get a revolver on his multiverse trip?
It's just fucking. You know, it felt like remember Flashpoint comics, like how the universe was just a little bit different. It's like that's what would fucking happen with a Joker. It's just it's almost Joker. It's almost Joker.
Yeah. I think that was...
It's just fucking cringy as shit. It's so fucking cringy.
The voice is no good, in my opinion.
I mean,
His voice sounded like he was trying to imitate.
you know what he could have worked at is like a henchman to an actual Joker.
So,
But like not being that Joker of just like a guy with like a bunch of fucking tattoos. Like I kind of almost like the tattoo, and now I'm gonna fucking use my hands like they could say is of he has a tattoo of a smile on his hand, and then he puts that like over his face. That's a little bit interesting to me, but it's like, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. It's not Joker.
let's throw this theory out there to hopefully you could tell me if it works or it doesn't work or enhance.
Okay.
It's still a shit character. He's not the Joker. He's Jason Todd.
I've heard that theory before, but I mean, does it really work? Because I have an idea of what Jason Todd is. So when that is like, that's an interesting take on Jason Todd, but like, do you want that take on Jason Todd?
Does it make the pill easier to swallow?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I would say that. Yeah. It
'Cause-
takes it like, okay, at least it did that.
Yeah, because he's obviously not a Joker we're familiar with.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he gets a lot of shit. But if he was a Jason Todd PTSD survivor,
You know,
manipulated,
somehow that's, imprinted on him of like that Joker thing. Like
yeah,
Like maybe even he went into the Raja Ghul's pit where he
The
came
Lazarus
Lazarus,
pit, yeah.
yeah. Like maybe like okay, so the Lazarus pit we know makes people crazy. Okay, he's a crazy Joker now.
Yeah.
That kind of makes it a little bit easier. It's not even a pill to swallow. It's an enema. It's
Yeah.
literally
It's going
enema.
up the butt.
Yeah, it's right up the ass.
Yeah. Fists a whaling. Throwback.
Yeah,
Throwback that nobody even knows about.
that's fine.
Anyway, the only downside to the Jason Todd theory is that, okay, instead of Mr. J and Harley, it's Jason Todd and Harley, which to me kind of kills some of the lore.
Yeah, so how do you handle that? Right?
Does Mr. J go, hey, that's my girl, you little shithead?
Unless, like, Harley's so fucking crazy she doesn't realize it's not Mr. J, not the actual Joker.
Could.
Yeah. But now look how much we're trying to fucking fix.
Yeah,
Something that just shouldn't exist.
we're putting so many fan theories to it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we could put a Band-Aid here
Yeah.
and a little bit of, like,
It's-
Neosporin.
It's the guy on the fucking Titanic with a roll of duct tape being like, you guys haven't invented this yet, so I can fix it. It's like, oh man, there's only so much we can do.
Works against nuclear attacks. We can fix this hole. Woo! The last note I have for Jared Leto before we move on to two other main roles. There's a lot of announced projects that he was attached to.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still is. I don't know. Like, the DCEU is so convoluted. They don't know what they're doing. But he was attached to Gotham City Sirens.
Which is done now, I think. Like,
Well, that was Birds of Prey.
oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Leto was confirmed to reprise the role as the Joker. However, the film was placed on hold in favor of making Birds of Prey. Let's take a moment how stupid that is. Why would you not go after Gotham City Sirens since it's Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and
Right.
Harley? 3 identifiable villains. Instead,
3
you
that all have had movies.
yeah, it essentially could have the Birds of Prey storyline,
Yeah.
but use more familiar characters.
Definitely people would want it.
Yeah, to me, the Birds of Prey, yeah, that's cool, but these are like B-list heroes, C-list
Yeah.
villain, like,
Which you tried to do with Suicide Squad and watch how that fucking worked out, didn't it?
yeah. So that's been announced. The other announcement was the Harley Quinn and Joker film. So as of September 2008, a script was completed and submitted to Warner Brothers, exploring the relationship of the two. Rumor is production is supposed to begin after Birds of Prey.
And Margot Robbie is that her?
Yeah.
Margot? Yeah.
This whole thing is...
She'll be, yeah.
Yeah, the really DCEU is the Margot Robbie extended universe.
I like her. I don't know if I like her as a Harley Quinn. She's a little bit too sexy for a Harley Quinn. Not that Harley Quinn wasn't sexy, but it's like...
It feels like a hot girl not knowing comics cosplayed as Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, that's literally what it is.
Yeah, because I mean, my first exposure to her was Wolf of Wall Street.
Right. And, like, come on.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, you got the hot girl.
Who the
play Harley.
fuck isn't going to be against more of that? But it's not a Harley Quinn, dude. Like...
I'm actually more interested in the Kaylee Cuoco DC animated Harley Quinn than I am Margot Robbie. Right. And then it made me think...
Oh, their animated shit is amazing.
Yeah. But it then made me think, like, what if Penny from Big Bang Theory, what if she played it? Like, she probably couldn't because of Big Bang Theory, but...
I don't know who could play, like, a good Harley Quinn. It's
a Brooklyn girl. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Instead, they got an Australian girl.
Like, you can kind of get her sarcasm with, shit, I can't think of her name. Parks and Rec girl.
Amy Poehler?
No.
Kristen
The one that was with,
Rashida Jones.
No. Every girl.
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. Okay. You can kind of get her sarcasm with Aubrey Plaza, but, like, you get a little bit too dark. She's not hyper enough.
Aubrey Plaza is Raven.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true.
She was born to play that role.
I just like Aubrey Plaza. She's from Delaware. Delaware needs one.
And then the last project that Leto's attached to as the Joker is a Joker solo film.
Which, that's not going to happen now.
Executive produced by Leto, and the rumor was the work would be centered on the villain. The last update was June of 2018.
Yeah, I heard he's pissed about, like, Joaquin Phoenix's whole thing. Yeah. But, yeah, like, dude, you have to know that, like... and you know what's sad? I think he actually likes the Joker. It's just, they told him, all right, you're going to be this Joker, and it's not executed well.
I'd like to think that they set him up for failure.
Yeah.
Rather than he fucked it up.
Yeah, he's a fine actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never done anything that made me think otherwise. It's just the fucking character sucks.
He's about to be Morbius, so we'll figure out how that works too.
Yeah, well.
Like, why do you? Oh, there's a weird guy to play it. It's him. But like you said, a lot of this is in jeopardy because a lot of my notes were before the Joaquin Phoenix one
And
came out.
it's not gonna fucking happen. He's done being Joker.
Yeah, because he got upset because the Joaquin Phoenix version was much
and
more
I think he
palatable.
twittered about it of his like dismay and all this. So
I don't think they
he's
know
just
what they're doing
done.
anyway.
No, they don't. They want to do MCU, but not MCU.
Yeah, they fucked
Yeah,
up.
they're so fucked.
They started with the Justice League
And
rather
it
than build
sucks,
to
dude.
it.
I, as a Marvel fan, I will even say that DC has better stories.
Oh, they do.
They have more iconic stories.
You could have a
100%.
Batman universe.
Yeah. You have better villains. Like, come on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that kind of wraps up Jared Leto. There were a couple brief cameos before we get to the next version of the Joker. In 2017, there was a brief news flash story on the NBC comedy Powerless, where the Joker was arrested.
Yeah.
That show didn't last a season. Didn't even get the air of the Adam West episode before Adam West passed away.
Which sucks.
They had to release that online because the show got canceled and they never aired the last 2 episodes.
How many episodes even came out?
8 of the 10, I think.
Oh my god, it was that bad?
Apparently.
Wow.
Although, to me, it had such potential. You had Ron Funches, and you had Alan Tudyk in it.
Which you would think that'd be enough to carry, but...
Yeah, Alan Tudyk was the weird cousin of Bruce Wayne. I think we're still good.
Okay.
It's just, there's a lag on the computer.
Okay.
The other one was the Joker was killed by Batman in Trigon's Reality in DCU's Titans in 2018. I did not watch that.
Oh, is Titans like the weird looking Starfire? Why the fuck?
It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and like the weird looking Beast Boy. I don't even remember what Raven looked like.
But apparently,
Cyborg on it.
it was
I
a
don't know.
brief cameo of the Joker being
So
dead.
is that still going?
Yes, they're in season 2. So he may. Nah, I don't think
Somebody
he's going
likes
to
it.
A lot of it's because they got their own streaming app, so now they're trying to just put content on it.
Yeah.
But the next big one that I wanted to talk to comes from a show on Fox, Gotham, from 2014 to 2019, and were portrayed by Cameron Monaghan, who was the gay one in Shameless,
Okay.
and will be playing the Jedi in the Fallen Jedi game that comes out, or is already out for
Wait,
the
is
PS4.
Fallen Jedi out?
By the time people hear this, absolutely.
Oh, it's out. Yeah, it's totally out. It's a great game.
By the time of the recording, we got maybe like a week left.
Yeah.
But Cameron played 2 versions of the Joker in the Gotham series. He played Jerome Valeska and Jeremiah Valeska. Jerome was the anarchist that we were familiar with Heath Ledger, where it was just kind of like a wildfire.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Jeremiah one was methodical, which was kind of like, if you're going to compare it, probably closer to Jack Nicholson, but smarter.
Yeah.
But the note that I have here is if you were to combine the characteristics of both teams, you would come closest to the 2018 depiction of the Joker performed by Heath Ledger. It's a methodical plan to cause the highest form of chaos. Jerome represented the flame that would burn the city, while Jeremiah would be the match that started the fire, as well as the accelerant that would keep it burning. That's my personal note. Because
It makes sense, yeah.
I would have forgot that. But yeah, so there was 2 versions of it, and 2 kind of different arcs from the comics. The Jerome one kind of went with the New 52 family, the Bat family one, where the Joker cuts off his face.
Yeah.
And then the Jeremiah one kind of went back to Gangster Nicholson, then Ace Chemical Plant, horrifying troll-looking thing.
Right.
He looked terrible in that finale.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Cameron and his portrayal in Gotham of the Joker?
I've seen, like, I actually haven't watched Gotham, but I've seen what he looks like. And I've seen the clips of how he acted and his laugh. Laugh is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, I don't even know how to explain that laugh.
The biggest problem I kind of had with the characters were, they're it's not the same person. They're twins.
Yeah.
Both that turned out to be mentally unstable.
Wait, like in real life?
In in the show.
Oh, okay.
But well, Cameron's only one guy, so he played both roles. But the character grew up in the circus.
Oh wait, so they're twins on the show?
Yeah.
I thought they were like twins in real life.
No, they're twins on the show,
Okay. So
played by the same actor.
okay, so why do we have twins playing? Wait, so they're both Joker?
Yes. So what happened
What
was
the hell?
Jerome dies.
Yeah.
He's dropped from a building similar to Jack Nicholson style.
Okay.
And then it starts a movement of fanatics
Being the Joker.
being the Joker, which they find out that Jerome had a twin brother or in this whole mess up. His name was Jeremiah. He was a scientist and he was smart. He was an intellectual comparable to Bruce Wayne at the time.
Okay.
Then something went wrong where he inhaled some of Jerome's gas because they did the whole gas shtick again. And then he completely tipped over the edge and was worse than Jerome because he was able to plan out the chaos.
You don't give them points for an original take.
Yeah, I didn't care for it.
Yeah, I've seen clips just because we were doing this and I wanted to see how they acted. But yeah, I didn't pick up that they were both different. Like
Jerome was less featured. Again, he was close to the Heath Ledger Wildfire type Joker.
right.
He kind of blew in, had a couple episodes, and then died. They built more around Jeremiah, which was a methodical psychopath, kind of like a sociopath, more or less, who was just doing it to do it because he could.
Yeah, so they kind of went with the whole watch the world burn thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like interesting that I would say you have three major Jokers of being Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, and now Heath Ledger.
Yep.
And then going, all right, so which branch, like,
They wanted
which one do you want to branch off of? And this one just went, oh, let's do all three.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Jeremiah, in sense, was first a gangster because he wore the top hat. He wasn't chemically scarred, and then he turned into a monster. Like when he dropped in, he had like a hunch. He had barely any hair. They really fucked him up.
Yeah, it really was like, okay, that's not a Joker,
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't really go into more of a comic portrayal. Like everything kind of like every live action I've seen is almost all of them our own thing.
Yeah. It's always because whoever's directing it or writing it seems that I want to ground it in reality.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when you ground in reality, it's like, well, you probably should use the comic backstory there. Like,
Which I never understood. Just
Okay.
use the comics. You have so much.
yeah, like he fell into a
History.
vat. Why is he that disfigured? Like, it either should have killed him or be just like, oh, he came out with
Yeah.
pale skin. That would everybody would be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Instead, you wanted to be like, well, no, it did some serious damage because it is a chemical. It's like, okay, but now you're just thinking too much into it.
Yeah, and now you have a new character. Now you don't have a Joker. Now you have whatever the fuck you want to make.
Yeah.
Now you have a horror villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a weird portrayal. Obviously, Gotham itself focuses more on the James Gordon story, just because you want to see how he rises to commissioner.
Yeah.
The time discrepancies.
Oh
fucking
my
awful.
god, they're so fucking weird.
Yeah, like Jerome and Jeremiah are probably about the same age as Bruce when
And
they
then
first
you have
meet them.
like Riddler that's like he would have been like 50 by the time Batman comes around.
Batman would have broke his fucking back
Yeah.
trying to fight this guy. Yeah, so like Penguin made sense because Penguin can be a little bit older. Riddler, like you said, would have been in his 50s, probably pushing 60 because he was a forensic scientist.
Yeah.
So you obviously had to go to like 5 to 10 years of school for that.
Yeah.
And he had been there as an established figure. So
Yeah.
he was there for at least a few years. But it was an interesting take. Obviously, I don't know if they rushed it, but, that Fox-Disney merger happened, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, Gotham's ending next year.
Yep.
Because WB must have been like, I don't want the fucking mouse having Batman.
Yeah. Honestly.
So that kind of wraps up Cameron. Kind
was
of a minor role.
Yeah, I mean, minor, interesting.
Yeah, again, it was more on the story of James Gordon, so you didn't get into the Batman versus Joker storyline. It was kind of like, how's James Gordon dealing with what will eventually be the Joker?
Yeah. I'll give it that it's completely different from everything else.
Yeah, that to me, the series would have did better if they just left him out. Because,
But you can't.
but every
You need Batman with Joker.
but that's the thing, you didn't have Batman.
Well, yeah, true.
So every story is the Joker around because Batman's
Yeah.
around and vice versa.
It does get a little bit annoying that Joker is everything. Like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
I know we're not talking about the games, but like, like there was one where it was supposed to be Black Mask, and then it just becomes Joker.
A fucking Hush. It was supposed to be something new, and it ended up being the
It's
Riddler.
just- yeah,
It's like, okay, you guys are going back to the well one too many times.
yeah.
But to me, I would have been okay if they left the Joker out because it was interesting. They did the backstory of Freeze, but then they didn't really elaborate on Freeze. Yeah, he was
No.
doing the research for his wife. He went crazy, and then you just stopped doing
Which is
stuff
all
with him.
stuff we already know, and it's stuff that the animated series created.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to pick from that.
Yeah.
If you're going to pick something, either choose your own or do comics. Don't pick from an already established series.
Yeah, it's true. The last guy we got on our list is the most recent, and it
Yeah.
came out in October. Mr. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. What was your impressions?
You know, I went in not expecting much and was really surprised and really happy with it. It's a good standalone Joker story. I really don't even want them to do more with him. I want it to just be, this is a standalone Joker story.
Yeah.
That's all you get. I don't even want, like, okay, now he's going to face the Batman. I honestly don't even want to see it. Because it works better to me as this is just a standalone Joker story. This is just Joker. I didn't really even like the whole like Batman type thing. You know, I really liked them kind of teasing us a bit of, oh, is he fucking brothers with Bruce Wayne?
So
And then I'm glad that they went, no, it's just fucking crazy.
I don't know about you, but when that reveal happened, I immediately dismissed the movie.
Yeah, me too. I was like, so you know who my girlfriend is, obviously. She like said to me, because she knows a little bit about comics from me now, she was like, is that what happens? I was like, no, that's just what they're doing in this movie.
My girlfriend did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
She leaned over and went, "What? They're really brothers?" I'm like, "There is no backstory for the Joker, and if this is it, I'm leaving." Like this.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just-
I honestly was pretty fucking like, come on.
Yeah, and then when hopefully you've seen it by the time
Yeah.
you've listened to this, but when they revealed that it wasn't true,
I was like, good.
I was like, "This makes it better."
Yeah.
Like, okay, he was fed false
Yeah,
false
yeah.
story, and then you find out the mother has a little bit of
Yeah,
crazy stuff with her,
And
and
then the girlfriend isn't fucking like it was
Yeah.
just so like
well done.
yeah, it was so this is how you break a man.
Yeah.
This is how you fucking
So-
break somebody.
What I've told everybody when it comes to the impression, like, oh, how'd you like the movie? How'd you like the movie? Because everybody, like, when you work with people who don't get into comics like we do,
Yeah.
they'll immediately come to your opinion for it. And it's like, you would not know this was a comic book movie.
Yep.
The only reference, is just the names and the characters.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shields flying or
No.
laser beams or any of that shit. It's,
It's just a guy that got fucked.
yeah, society forgetting the mentally challenged.
Yeah.
That's what the
That's
story
really
was.
what it is too. It's a mentally challenged story. It's
Yeah.
a mental health story going completely off the fucking rails.
Exactly, and I think to me, what all these other previous iterations of the Joker, where they tried to ground it in reality, they knocked it out of the park.
This is the most reality.
Yeah.
This is like it just feels everything about it feels okay. That made sense.
Yeah.
That made sense. That made sense. There's
doesn't-
nothing that goes, oh, why the fuck did that happen? No, everything makes sense.
Didn't fall into a vat of fucking
Yeah.
chemicals. Didn't have like a weird. You watch the man try,
Yeah.
and to me, like they say, they pulled a lot of influence from The Killing Joke.
Uh-huh.
That Arthur Fleck character tries to
Yeah.
I want to be
He
integrated
seeks
in
help.
society.
He goes
Yeah.
to a therapist, and
Talks
he goes,
to-
"You don't fucking get it. All I have is dark thoughts."
Yeah, he's looking for help, and then ultimately, when he realizes he's not getting anymore, just tips to the other side.
Though, so some of your listeners might not know that I'm a comedian, and at one point, my girlfriend leaned over to me and went, "Is this your origin story?" I was like, "Oh fuck, it might be."
The group I went with, we all walked out and went, "Hey, this is Frank Cline, right? Like, should we be more concerned what's going on?"
It was just, yeah.
But it's
I've done I've done his stand-up show.
the character to me is the other fascinating thing that doesn't even really involve him per se is the perspective of Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
So every other time we've been shown Thomas and Martha
as a saint and all this shit.
Yeah.
No, he's a fucking scumbag.
He's the guy Bernie Sanders talks about all the time. Like, the 1% taking your money. That's the way he was portrayed. And I thought that was interesting because, again, you always see Thomas from the view of people who worked with Thomas.
Right. Or Batman holding him in such high fucking regards of, excuse me, of being saint-like, you know?
Yeah, it turns out he's a dick.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of Flashpoint, of where we see Thomas Wayne becomes Batman in that scenario of, like, so he's a Batman in Flashpoint, but he's a fucking dick.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, Thomas Wayne is a dick. We don't really get to see that too much because he dies. Mm-hmm. That's our introduction to the story. Here's Batman's dad. Oh, he's dead. Now Bruce Wayne becomes Batman. So we don't really get to dive into Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
This was a good view of Thomas Wayne, yeah.
I thought it was an interesting take because the last time we saw like a full-on Thomas Wayne like verbal parts was the or it was like Batman Begins, Dark Knight, where they did the flashback scenes where he was just very concerned about the city and he was painted as a humanitarian and he was like kind of like, hey, don't worry, pal, I'll take care of it. And then I was like, oh, you shot him. Like, that's sad. This was like, Thomas probably earned it.
Yeah, he's a millionaire. Yeah. Obviously, he's a dick. Yeah, what millionaire do you know that's nice?
So well, like in the alley, it's like, it sucked that his mom died, but fucking Thomas, he punched the guy in the face.
Her goddamn pearls fall off again. Every fucking time.
We do a podcast strictly to the pearls bouncing off the fucking cement. The interesting note from this is you've seen the whole movie, you're sitting through an hour and a half of this, and in the end he just kind of laughs as he's talking to a therapist.
Yeah.
And then the fan theories went fucking crazy of none of it's real.
No, it's real.
I want it to be real because to me then it feels like you wasted your time.
Yeah.
But at the same time it's like, God, that is really good because every time you've been introduced to the Joker, he never has a straight backstory.
Yeah, I kind of also like that too.
I'm so torn.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to feel like I just got duped, but if you duped me, goddamn, that was good.
Yeah. I mean, it works either way for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so I've always also liked that there is a fan theory about Joker of, so there's multiverses, and Joker is literally living multiverses in one verse. So like, he could be the fucking gangster, and then like all of a sudden he could be fucking Heath Ledger. Yeah. All of a sudden he could be Jared Leto. It doesn't, and in the same universe.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. Oh, that's actually a Joker. Like, there's a Joker that was Arthur or whatever, but this fucking Joker that's in the hospital maybe he's just remembering it. There's this other theory of Joker just remembers all the multiverses happening at once. He's living all of them in his head, and that's why he's so fucking nuts.
It would make sense.
Yeah. He's kind of like a Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, but he's breaking the fourth wall within his own existence.
Yeah, without letting that audience know.
Yeah, without letting,
Because I thought it was interesting that the smirk and the you wouldn't get it at the end.
Yeah.
Because then you start thinking to your head, like, when somebody says it, it's like, Jesus, the girlfriend wasn't real the whole time. The story of him being Thomas's kid, that wasn't true. Like, this whole thing is built on lies. Why wouldn't the whole thing be a lie?
Right. Joker almost has a superpower of adaptability. Yeah. He can just turn into a character that the situation calls for. If he needs to be a gangster, he'll be a fucking gangster.
Yeah.
You know.
But overall, we'll put that fan theory aside and just to treat this as an actual treatment of the Joker. What were your thoughts on his portrayal? Because, again, you feel sympathy for him.
Yeah.
And in most instances, they try to make it so you don't feel sympathy for the Joker.
Right. The fucking laugh is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
The walking away from something and just ha ha ha, and then like going back into a straight face is like, holy, that would be the Joker.
How did you feel about it being an actual symptom of like traumatic abuse?
Yeah, because that actually exists. He saw it's some fucking actual symptom that happens to people that's been through, I guess, traumatic experiences of
uncontrollable laughter.
Your reaction to it is laughter. Yeah. Like, I love the bus scene, and he's just like, he has to hand her a card. He's like, I'm fucking sorry. This is a condition. There's also a theory of, is it even like really a condition? Is it just kind of in his head? Like
a nervous tick.
Yeah.
Like certain people who rub their nipples in front of people. That's just fucking weird. Hope he's listening.
Nobody got it, but that's fine.
No, we'll bring it up every episode. We'll be talking about StarCraft one time, like, yeah, and then Jim Raynor fucking rubbed his nipples. It was weird. Put it on a t-shirt, say. Fucking nipple rubbing.
Fuck it, it's our podcast.
Yeah, I like it. But I really enjoyed it. The problem I had with the movie itself is it started slow, in my opinion. Because, well, actually, I'll rephrase that. I came in expecting Heath Ledger. A wildfire, no cause, and just like pure balls to the wall when you got into your seat. And that was not what happened.
No, it was slow burn.
Yeah, right into a descent into madness. How did you feel about that?
I kind of like the slow burn. I like that you know when he's on that show, when he's on the Tonight Show type of thing, it's going to be fuck. It's been building for an hour now. It's going to be holy shit. It's coming to its climax.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit let down. I wanted a little bit more. I wanted to see a little bit more. Not saying that it wasn't fucking great. I love after he fucking shoots him, he does the little fucking dance. I'm like, oh, that's very Joker. But I wanted to see the fucking stands explode. I wanted to see just nuts.
Pure chaos.
But I think if we see that, he doesn't get these followers, the followers of Joker kind of thing. If he just starts killing fucking people in the crowd, do we get these people going, yeah, this is our guy, this is the guy that gave it to the man?
Yeah, because so far, at least all the murders, with the exception of his coworker, all the murders he did were top 1%ers.
Yeah, and it's justified in the eyes of his followers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's us versus them, and he's on our side. The other thing that I kind of wanted to point out with the whole Joker allure in this character, I did find it fascinating because I said that I did not like, I thought it was slow. But by the end, like you said, I wanted more.
Yeah, I want a little bit more destruction.
It's like, I've never gone into a movie and went, oh my god, this is taking... Like, It Chapter 2 was slow to me. And when it wouldn't end, it was just like, why won't this end?
Yeah.
The Joker, I was like, this is slow. And then we got to the end, I'm like, whoa, you're done? Like, we're just getting to the good stuff.
It's taking the girl home, and now she's taking her clothes off and went, well, time to go to sleep. Come on.
It can be equated to the Lord of the Rings, like where they're just walking for the whole fucking movie, and you went, whoa!
The ring dropped. What the
wait
fuck?
for part 2 for them to finish walking, and then you get through part 2 and go, wow, they're still not done walking? What the fuck?
Spent 9 hours here. I got things to do.
Tired of watching hobbits fucking walk.
Fuck.
But the slow build, to me, and I kind of want to know your opinion. When you walked out of the movie, did you go, yes, I love this?
Yeah, I think I did.
Because, like, I'm on the flip side. I walked out going, that was shit.
And it took you like a minute to come up.
I spent the whole, and the weird thing is, and my girlfriend probably killed me at the time, I just kept running through my head of like, and out loud, like I was just audibly talking to myself, like, that fucking sucked. Oh, wait a minute, but then it was really good what they did there. And by the Sunday, after I had seen it Thursday, I was like, that was a really good fucking movie.
You know what? I'm very opposite of you. I'll walk out of the movie and go, it's good, because I just spent fucking $10, and my fucking cheap-ass brain refuses to think any movie's shit, and then I'll fucking dissect it. Like Star Wars, the last one that came out, I was like, yeah, I liked it. And then I thought more and more about it and went, okay, it's not good.
So, again, The Last Jedi, I was the opposite. I picked it apart and went, why the hell did they do this? Why did they do that? And by the end of it, I was like, you know what? If you watched Empire Strikes Back without knowing what happens in Return of the Jedi, you probably had the same feelings.
Right.
Han Solo was fucked at the end of it. Yeah. Vader won. Luke lost a goddamn hand. You would walk out of that thing pissed.
That dude Lando just fucking turns on him, the character we just meet. Like,
Lando stole his ship and his girl. What is happening?
Way to ruin a franchise. This is going to die right now.
Yeah.
Like, we're never going to talk about this again.
You didn't have that happy... It was a bold move, and I think Last Jedi ultimately was a bold move. The only thing I didn't like about The Last Jedi, and I'm sure I'll do an episode with Gibby because he bitches all the time about Kathleen Kennedy, is it was very woman empowering, and I don't mind it. I believe it should be done.
Oh yeah.
Carrie Fisher.
Oh, I love that girls are like dressing up like Ray, like little girls.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, get it. You need a hero.
But they made the men really fucking stupid in it. They made Luke a coward.
Yeah,
Which he was a new hope.
Dude, I went into that movie, and when they showed Poe,
Yeah.
is that his name? I completely forgot Poe was a fucking character.
Yeah.
Until they showed him up, I was like, oh yeah, he's in a fucking movie.
The arrogant asshole that didn't
Yeah.
listen to anyone. John Boyega's character Finn tried to run away.
I know we're doing a Joker podcast.
Completely
but-
digressing. But like, I think to the point, to bring it back to the Joker with the movie is, and you dissecting it and I dissecting it, you had to, for me at least, it had to sink in
Yeah.
before I could enjoy
Yeah,
it.
you really kind of had to just let it sit for a while and just really kind of marinate in what the fuck you just saw. Because
Yeah.
it's not a comic book movie.
No, it's not at all.
No.
And to me, at least, when it comes to the actor who portrayed the Joker, the bar was really high for when Heath Ledger said it. Jared Leto didn't even try to jump, so he did not clear that bar. And you're coming off that interpretation of the Joker. It's like, what is going? And you know, Joaquin Phoenix has a history, and he's weird as it is outside of
Right.
Hollywood. And it's like, is he going to take this too serious to the point where he's not the Joker? He's just whatever Joaquin Phoenix wants to do.
Like, you probably know this. My favorite artist of all time is Johnny Cash. I did not like Joaquin Phoenix's Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
So I went in going, okay, now you're going to do my favorite villain of all time. So I was very apprehensive. The bar was very low for me. And yeah, loved it. I thought he did great.
Because whatever he did before this, because he did that weird thing where he grew out the beard, he acted weird, antisocial, kind of like a fucking Joker in a way, but like a depressed one. I just thought to myself, like, he takes himself way too serious too many times.
Yeah.
Will that get in the way of him fulfilling
Yeah, he really
the
let
Joker?
go. Like,
He did. He's like, and he committed, and he really, I guess, I don't even know if he did research, but they may have just been like, hey, you're
I feel like he
challenged.
probably did.
You would think he did, because he's kind of a method actor. But at the same time, he doesn't strike you as a guy that reads comics.
I feel like the method actor would supersede.
Would force
fucking
him to
that.
do it.
Yeah.
And that was my nervousness, because he was truly a wild card going into
Yeah,
this.
I feel like I read that like he read Killing Joke and Death in the Family and shit like that. I feel
Which
like
makes sense.
Because you see a lot of I saw a lot of Death in the Family in that.
And I saw a lot of the Killing Joke.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, like, they make you feel bad for the character.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, it's like, holy shit, he's doing some horrifying stuff.
Yeah.
But I was really nervous because you could flip a coin. You could either got a really great performance out of him or a real shit performance,
Yeah.
pending how he felt.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even now...
He's kind of a difficult actor, I think, too.
Yeah.
I think he's like fought with like a lot of directors and shit like that. So
Yeah, and even now, post Joker success, highest rated R movie of all time,
Yeah.
beat out Deadpool, all that. He immediately sequels just start like rumors are flying, and he doesn't want to do it.
I kind of don't blame him.
He shouldn't.
I think it needs to stand on its own.
Yeah, and like you said, I wouldn't want to see him interact.
Look at the Hangover movies.
They one and done would have been
The
great.
fucking first one is an amazing comedy movie.
Yes,
I can't even tell you what the fuck happened in the second and third one, and I've seen both of them.
I think you see Ken Jeong's dick again.
Yeah, they
about
go to Vietnam, maybe. I don't even know.
Bangkok, because that would be funnier.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes a movie needs to be one and done.
Yes, and I feel like this
Not
is
everything
a great
needs a sequel.
And it's a shame that Jared Leto's getting butthurt over it, because if he just let it stand alone as it is, I can understand, because we gave him a lot of shit on this podcast because
yeah.
he sucked. But I don't think that was his fault. I think it was the writing's fault.
Yeah.
I think DC Extended Universe said, let's go dark, and you went way too dark.
It's a shame that and I think studios do this too, is they fucking put the whole burden on the actor.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, the actor's just doing what the fuck the script says. Like,
Well, look how many people came out in defense of Zack Snyder's Dawn of Justice. Well, you didn't see the Snyder Cut. You didn't see the Snyder Cut. Personally, I don't think I'd like the Snyder Cut. I think his style is dark and gritty, and it's like, you did that to Superman.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the polar opposite of
yeah,
Batman.
of Batman, yeah.
And you fucked that up.
That's why those two characters together work so well. That's why we have a million fucking comics
Exactly.
of Batman, Superman.
Yeah, and it's just, the only time you got the glimpse into Superman having darkness You went into Injustice, where he just started fucking killing people.
Right.
And it's like, okay, if you're going that route, then yeah, good job. But I don't think you're that savvy to do it.
Yeah. And now it's just completely fucking mucky.
Yeah, and I think Jared Leto fell victim to that.
Yeah.
Too much, too fast, and not enough planning.
Yeah. Again, it was literally put the pedal to the metal. We have to catch up with Marvel, and it was like, dude, you build it, build.
Where Feige's telling you like
fucking a million characters to do.
Yeah, where Feige's like, I'm good till 2030. Like we have a roadmap. And DCEU is just like, well, we wanted to do Flash. We still don't know we're doing Flash.
Yep. Yeah, you don't have a Flash yet. You have so much missing.
And to me, we're getting away from the Joker stuff, but
at least we're still in DC.
You had a good skeleton with the CW shows.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you wrap that?
Right.
And be like, okay, you're not going to do a Green Arrow movie.
You already have a fan base for it? Yeah. Fuck it.
You're not going to do a Green Arrow movie. Everybody loves the actor for Flash.
Yeah.
Fuck, just bring him into it.
Yeah.
And then, they're pre-established. I get that you would probably have to rewrite things like Ra's al Ghul if you ever wanted to use them and stuff like that, but people won't care. They want to see Stephen Amell and the other guy.
Absolutely.
I can't think of his fucking name, but they want to see him in it. And then maybe if you had some influence, because again, I think Jeff Johns oversees that too. I just feel like they strapped Leto, and that's why he gets a bad rap. Where do you think, as we wrap up our podcast, the Joker goes from here?
I think you take his most classic story, and which I would say is Killing Joke. I think is his most classic story, and you do Killing Joke. You have to do a new actor. Sorry, you can't do...
Would you do Joaquin if it was still a one-off? In that, we'll call it the Joaquin universe?
To me, yes, but the studios won't.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because then you also have to cast a new Batman.
Yeah. So, you do a one-off. You do a new guy. You do a guy who's... Because Joaquin Phoenix isn't really Killing Joke Joker.
No.
I would even say Jack Nicholson's more Killing Joke Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know who. But yeah, I would... If I was DC, this is literally what I would do. Okay, fuck universe building. I would just try to do stories.
One-offs.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Just keep making them. Keep making these stories. Because you knocked it out of the fucking park with Joker. That was great. Shazam was okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
It was their take of comedy.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was good. Aquaman was okay.
I fucking didn't like Wonder Woman at all. I fucking felt like it was boring as shit.
I walked out with the bar being so low, and they jumped over it. I was like, okay, you stepped over the bar. That's better than what it was.
You can do a fucking better Wonder Woman than what they did.
Yeah.
To me, they tried to do Captain America as Wonder Woman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what? Also back to with the Joker. Out of all the people we've talked about today on this podcast,
Yeah.
excluding the '60s because that's a weird time period, who is your favorite Joker?
Oh my god, that indie one, dude.
You heard it here, folks. Andrew Koenig. He wins.
I've thought about this so many fucking times. And I have to go, who is the most comic Joker? Who isn't a film Joker who represented the comics? And to me, that comic Joker is Cesar Romero. Cesar, for what it was at the time. And now the comics are definitely different from the 60s.
They're more Joaquin Phoenix-like.
Yeah. He was Joker of that period.
A good run, too.
He was completely what that Joker should have been for that time.
Yeah, and I don't think the Joker really got dark until the late 80s, when people like Frank Miller got their hands on it.
I mean, Jack Nicholson is his own character. Yeah. We've got to establish that. Even Heath Ledger, as much as he's great and really fucking defines a thing, it's like, well, what do you compare him to in comics? You show me a comic that looked like Heath Ledger. I can't do it.
Nope. Not until after the fact.
Yeah, I've read a lot of fucking Joker comics. I can't do it. Joaquin Phoenix, now you kind of can, and he comes very close to me of being like, yeah, that's a Joker, but it's its own story. It's not anything that I've read in a comic, and we haven't really seen his reaction with Batman.
Yes.
So for me then, and we're not doing these all little one-offs of OnStar commercials. So for me then, it's Cesar Romero.
Sure you don't want Booger to be your top one?
How about you?
Personally, I think that's great logic. Cesar Romero was the campy, what people were introduced of the Joker. relic of his time period.
Right.
He dominated. If you all the way up to actually the first half, because it was 80-year anniversary of Batman. The first half, Cesar Romero was the only live action version of him.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't really do it that long. But he still was like, oh, you think of a person that looks like him, you think Caesar, because he portrayed him for the 3 years. Like you said, Jack Nicholson stands in a class of his own. To me, he's too gangster. I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, I loved it too. Like we kind of like
But
might have talked a little bit shit, but yeah, it was great.
to me, he's a generic gangster villain. There's not too much Joker to him.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger, phenomenal. I think he captured the psychopathic, wild card, fire tendencies of the Joker and got pretty close to it. Granted, he was I think he inspired more of the stories we see today rather than draw from stories that have already been done, like you had said.
Yeah, like Death in the Family comes after that fucking kind of Joker.
Yeah.
It's a crazy Joker.
Like, all of a sudden, Joker had these elaborate plans rather than just, I'm going to fuck with Batman. This was more like, oh, I'm going to make elaborate plans to break him as a human being, more than just like, oh, I'm going to throw a pie in his face, see what happens. The TV ones, unfortunately, I don't think with Cameron, they missed the mark. They tried to do too much, and they're probably victim of just, I have 23 episodes to fill over 6 years. And then lastly, Joaquin Phoenix, it's more of a struggles of society forgetting the mentally challenged.
Yeah.
So to that point, Caesar is the closest comic book adaptation, in my opinion, in your opinion, obviously. Yeah. So I would guess you'd have to go with him. If you excluded the 60s, because it's a weird time, and usually if you had the same Batman discussion, I would have went with Batman, because it felt like he was reading a comic as his dialogue.
Yeah.
I would probably have gone with Heath Ledger.
And that would be my pick if we're not doing,
Modern era.
Yeah. If I'm just picking, like, a Joker that I really liked, yeah, it's Heath Ledger. That's just a fucking cool Joker.
At least in my opinion, I still rewatch The Dark Knight because of the Joker character.
Yeah, I don't really want to go back and watch fucking...
Joker again?
Yeah.
Same. I thought it was really good, but to me it's like, oh, I watched The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. You can't go back and watch Shawshank and go, oh, I wonder how he gets out of this.
Yeah, like, I don't want to watch Andy keep getting raped. So...
Yeah.
It's... I think we're pretty aligned on it. I think it was a great conversation, and now all we have left is just plugs. So what you got going on, sir?
I don't know. This ain't even going to air until the fucking...
That's true. So why don't you plug your Twitter and all your social media accounts?
Yeah, you can follow me on Frank Cline Comedy. I have a YouTube. I'm hopefully going to do more YouTube videos on Frank Cline Comedy. I got Instagram, Frank Cline Comedy. I do funny pictures. You can find me at Frank and Cline on Facebook if you want to just be friends. And, yeah. Or just come out to my shows. I'm going to be doing Tap Room more in Haddonfield.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's like every Wednesday. It's an open mic. And I'm going to really, like... My goal is to, like, just do it every fucking Wednesday now.
And remember, if you don't laugh at his jokes, you all saw the Joker movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not good. Yeah. I'm not even sure if my girlfriend's real. So...
Did this podcast happen even at all? Who knows?
Who knows?
For
what you got going on?
What I've got going on is obviously every Tuesday night for the past 6.5 years, we're moving on to 7, has been the Dace Man Show on twitch.tv/Dace Man and Friends, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Frank Cline joins us occasionally on that.
Sometimes.
I am a staple sometimes. Sometimes I leave.
Sometimes you're a staple in your own podcast.
Yeah, and other times just like give me the damn thing.
Fine.
By the time this airs, which we should be in 2020.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like we did this week, but realistically, who knows? The Game-a-thon will be coming out March 7th. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you may be listening, make sure you turn into twitch.tv/Dace Man and Friends March 7th at noon Eastern Time as we game for 24 hours. We cheat because it's daylight savings time. But we will be gaming from 12 noon to 12 noon for a good cause, which is usually the Messages Project. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You can also buy our swag at thedacemanshow.com. You can catch all our previous content at thedacemanshow.com. There's all kinds of links and stuff like that. Rather than giving you the drawn-out version of all our social media accounts. The only one I'm going to give you, though, is the Twitter, at the Dace Man Show, and then facebook.com/Dace Show, because both of those will give you notifications of what we're doing, because Katie is way better at updating social media than I am.
Way better.
But I have had fun tonight.
Yeah, this is good.
Inaugural edition of...
Yeah, we're going to do more.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah.
I know at least in the pipeline, I don't know what order they'll come out, but this was obviously our first one. I wanted to launch strong with the Joker, because I know you and I both have a passion for this.
So we've mentioned like Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Pokemon, X-Men, so there's a lot of stuff we could do. Yeah.
So anything
all
nerd
kinds of nerdy stuff.
But I know in the pipeline we'll have Office Season 1, and I believe Chris Padre will be a guest on that one, and then StarCraft with Gibby.
Ooh.
So if you're a jizzard, it's a Dace Man Show reference, and we have a t-shirt fan, head on over to the StarCraft option with Gibby, because he's going to do most of the talking there. But thank you for joining me tonight.
Yeah.
I don't have a catchy outro.
Well, we'll work on it.
Hopefully.
Podcast.
But thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Podern Nerd, and we hope to see you around the bend. For me and Frank Cline, this has been fun, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.